tomorrow at playalberta.ca. No one won the Lotto Max last night. It's up to $50 million. And tonight, $28 million. Lotto 649. So good luck. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. The Edmonton Oilers, Noah Philp, Curtis Lazar will not play tonight. They are injured. They're not going to play tonight, tomorrow, or Saturday. It looks like the Oilers are going to play 11-7 for the remainder of the road trip. They don't have any cap space. They can't call anybody up. They would have to put someone on LTIR, and no one. Nugent Hopkins is getting close to returning next week. Same as Kasperi Kapanen, who's already on LTIR. And neither of Philp or Lazar's injuries are deemed that long term. So the Oilers are in a little bit of a cap crunch. You basically have 18 healthy skaters. They'll go with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. Tonight, when you look at the Oilers, like, does 11, is it really going to bug them that much? I don't think so. It just means kind of guys, Podkolzin, Savoy, Roslovic, all those guys, they'll play a few more minutes. Right, McDavid and Draisaitl, basically, they're kind of maxed out. Unless the game goes to overtime, I guess they could play a little bit more, but I think it's more so going to be kind of like your middle guys getting a few more minutes, and we'll see. There's a few extra minutes. Could that help Trent Frederick? Probably can't hurt him. He needs to get going. Mangiapane, same thing. Right? Like, their bottom 6 guys have done a whole lot of nothing in the month of November offensively. Defensively, the Oilers are going to switch their D pair. Well, they're going to go with 7, but they're going to start the game anyway based on practice. Nurse with Bouchard. We'll see how long it lasts. Kulak's going to play the right side with Ekholm. See how that goes. And then you got Wallman and Regula. Ty Emberson is also dressed, so they will go with 7 defensemen. And, we'll see how it goes. Is there a D-man? I've never seen one of them who plays forward. I don't think it's going to start now. Okay? I do not think they're going to suddenly play a defenseman at a regular shift up front. They already have no offense. Why would you put a defenseman in your top 6, right? In your top 12 forwards? Guys never played there. I don't see it being a wise decision. On the show today, man, it's a loaded show. Tyler Yaremchuk will join us. We got John Walton from Washington talk about the Capitals. Logan Thompson, who's played unreal, and with each passing day, pretty much punching his ticket to play on Team Canada at the Olympics. At least you would think. There's no chance they can pick 3 other goalies ahead of him, can they? Landon Ferraro will be by. We got Speck, 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. Also, today in the business of sport, Rich Winter and I are going to banty about a few things. And then, so I'm sure some of you remember a name of a player who played in the National Hockey League. Didn't have he played parts of, I think, 4 or 5 seasons in the NHL. I'd have to get the exact number of games, but he made his NHL debut with the Vancouver Canucks in 2010, 2011. Was a scrappy, physical forward. Ended up playing with the New York Rangers. Aaron Volpatti. And Aaron Volpatti, who played for the Vernon Vipers. This is a guy who he never thought he was going to the NHL. Was never even a remote thought for him growing up. He had a goal to try to get to NCAA. And I learned something, and Rich actually got us connected us with Aaron. Aaron's going to come on the show today. Connor Halley, he had second-degree burns to 40% of his body when he was 19 years of age in the summer of 2025. And, actually, no, he was 20 years of age at the time. My bad. 20 years of age. And I had an incident out at a bush party that went wrong, and he got burned. And now I have one friend would probably be disingenuous of me to say, but I have an acquaintance who suffered some serious burns. I remember, I've talked to him a little bit about it, but man, reading this book, like, I always thought burning would be one of the worst things, but the burn unit, for any people out there who work in the burn unit, my goodness, after reading Aaron's book and learning about the process on how you try to heal burn victims. Oh my goodness. Like the pain, just reading the book. Like at times you're just like, oh my God. Like he did a great job of describing it, but debridement, ever heard about it before, Connor? Had you ever heard of the term debridement?
No,
Probably
no,
not.
I have not. No.
No. Well, so basically when you suffer serious burns and you're in the burn unit and you will have your skin basically, how many of you have burned your finger? Right? Maybe you touch a stove or pot on the stove or something. You know what? You burned your finger and it blisters up pretty fast. Right. And it's one, and you're like, God, that really hurts. Now imagine that on your legs and your torso. And you got to clean it. So when you got to do this every day because they want the skin. Otherwise, it's going to really limit your mobility and stuff like that. And so basically, Cons, you go in and it's almost like a human car wash. And we'll talk to Aaron about that. But just reading it, there were times where I was just like, oh my God. And so the fact that this guy at 20 years of age who was playing junior A hockey had that much damage done to his body, and he still found a way to get to the National Hockey League. Wild story. And so, but it's not what he recovered from. It's how he did it. And it to me is fascinating. And so when we talk about the business of sport, there's lots of parts of the business of sport. But sometimes sport is just like sport is a business. And how can you succeed in it? It's no different than how can you succeed in school? How can you succeed in your job, whatever your job is? How do you succeed in radio? Like hard work is one thing, but Aaron Volpatti is going to join us at 3:20. And I'm telling all of you, if you want to be inspired, you're going to want to listen to that interview. So he is coming up in about an hour and 10 minutes. It is a wild story. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Talking with Aaron about that. And you want to talk about strength and the ability to overcome stuff. Like, my goodness, this is a wild. And like, I never knew he played. Like, I knew he played in the NHL. I remember when he was with the Canucks and when he was with the Capitals, played with Ovi. I remember that. I remember him running around. He's a physical guy, right? He was a fourth line checker and kind of a middleweight fighter, willing to go with lots of guys. But I had no idea the extent of adversity that he dealt with to get to the National Hockey League. It's wild. So that's coming up in the business of sport today at 3:20. We'll always take your text, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our inbox. Last night in the National Hockey League, something that hadn't happened since 1944. You had two players on the same night, 20 years of age and younger, both register a hat trick. Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini. Those two youngsters are hammering at Team Canada's door to say, let us in. We want to be on the team. Celebrini, 30 points, tied with Connor McDavid for second in the NHL. Technically, he's ahead of him because he has 4 more goals, because goals is the tiebreaker. Connor Bedard has 29 points. He's played 2 fewer games than McDavid. There's McKinnon with 33, Celebrini at 30, McDavid at 30, Bedard at 29. It's pretty good. So then you throw in Mark Scheifele. There's another guy. He wasn't on Team Canada last year either. Or not last, at 4 Nations. He's got 27 points. So you look at it, the top 5 scorers in the NHL right now are Canadian. 3 of them didn't make the 4 Nations team last time. Don't ever let anyone tell you Canada doesn't have depth, okay? Come on now. Come on. Hey, Gregor. A couple of years ago, Volpatti came into the Vipers dressing room, told a story, had some wide-eyed players. It was unreal from Puffy. Well, Puffy, you know what? I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I could not imagine that story for a lot of reasons. Like, you honestly, when you hear his story, this should be made into a movie, to be honest. Because to survive what he survived and all of the stuff that happened is wild to me, man. Absolutely wild. So we'll get into that. I think you're really gonna. I'm looking forward to it. I think you're really gonna enjoy that interview. Well, hopefully you enjoy it as much as I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see. The orders, we got a lot of texts on them. Hey, Gregor, what do you make of the new defense pairs? Why is the coach stubborn? Why would you play Bouchard and Nurse? It doesn't work. It's a fair question, Aaron. It's a very fair question. When they've played together, it hasn't been great. I think that is that's fair to say. Right now, it hasn't been, an extensive amount of time. And I shouldn't say that. Early on, it worked. Now, this year, has any defense pair really worked for the Oilers? Like, I know Bouchard and Ekholm have found their game here a little bit in the month of November, sure. But they've also, they found their game when they're playing with McDavid and Draisaitl. Right? And specifically Draisaitl. Right? Like, I saw Jonathan Willis put out, Evan Bouchard, look at his numbers and look at the team when he's not on the ice. And that's very misleading because look at Draisaitl's numbers. They're the exact same. Because, Bouchard's playing with Draisaitl. Right? So it's not Evan Bouchard individually. Anybody who watches the games, I think, can tell you that. Bouchard's played better than he played in October because, frankly, he couldn't play worse. It was a terrible month for him and Ekholm. Awful. Right? Now, sadly, they passed the torch, and Nurse hasn't been very good all season long. It's like he's allergic to playing with any sort of energy and emotion. Right? I know, Elliot Friedman said, maybe the noise is getting to him. What noise? Like, honestly, social media noise? Get off of it then. It's pretty simple. I'm not even sure he's on X. On Instagram, there's not much noise. It's just pictures. So where's the noise? And I'm sorry. If some fans don't like your game, play better or don't worry about it. Like, honestly, you're going to tell me that the reason you're not playing well is because some stranger who you've never met, whose opinion really you should take zero interest in. It's the best advice I'd give anybody listening. And never take criticism from someone you wouldn't ask insight from. Right? If you wouldn't want constructive criticism from that person, why would you care about what they say about you? They don't probably know you. They have no idea about you. They make an assessment of you without even knowing you. Why would you ever care? Right? Why would you care? Makes no sense. So you're a professional athlete and supposedly some fans are upset with how you're playing. Get over it. Play better. Make better decisions. I'm sorry. Like, if that's actually true, and I can't say it is or not, if that's actually true, to me, that's frankly embarrassing. I'm sorry. There's tough challenges in life. After reading Volpatti's book, I'm saying, the worst thing that happens to you is that some fans go on social media and say you suck. And that's supposed to be the hardest part of your day. And oh my God, I don't think, you know what? I'm going back for a puck now. I got a guy wide open. I think I'm going to throw it up the middle because, MK68 on X said I sucked. What? There's no, I don't see the comparison. I'm sorry, I don't. Like, it's got to play better. And what does that have to do? If anything, if it makes you mad, play with some damn emotion. He's been incredibly void of emotion all year long. And the thing is, Nurse plays better when he's engaged physically in the game. That's a fact. His best hockey is when he's engaged. The minute he tries to play a controlled game with no emotion, he's not good. So then get mad at the white noise. Use it as motivation. Classic Michael Jordan line. And I took that personally. Hey, you have a choice on how you want to deal with criticism. You have two choices. First of all, you probably block it out from people that you don't really care about. No offense, because that's just the truth, right? I'm sure Nurse shouldn't care about my opinion. Shouldn't impact his day, right? If he came up to me and said, yeah, Gregor, you suck on air, I'd be like, okay, thanks, Darnell. It wouldn't impact my ability to do my job. Still do it the same. Like, all right, it's his opinion. I get it all the time. Trust me. Like, if you're telling me, I go show you my social media feed, right? If you can't deal with negativity, right, get out of the hot box. It's just that simple. But he's got to play better. I don't want to buy any excuses as to why he's not playing well. He can play better. Bouchard can play better. Ekholm can play better. Wallman can play better. Kulak can play better. I'm not just talking about the defense. We know about the forwards. They got to play better. But, like, stop with the excuse time. They're just not playing well. They got to play better. And if they got to play with a chip on their shoulder, then get a big chip. Make it up. I don't care. Go read mean tweets. Do whatever you need to get energized because there's not enough of it. Not at all. Hey, Gregor, I don't even think Nurse has been criticized that much online. Bouchard and Skinner get it way worse from Sasha. Bingo. Thank you. If there's anybody, those two guys probably take more fun. And Bouchard's been unreal in the playoffs. And people still freak out over it. Right? Stuart Skinner, hey, did he get pulled in a few games? Yeah. And then he come back and bounce back? Yeah. He's not overpaid at all. Right? He kind of is what he is. He's not an elite goalie. I always chuckle at the Skinner hate. He's not good enough. We need another goalie. And then next game, why can't Skinner make a save? Well, you just said you don't think he's that good. So why are you mad now that you were right? It's like you're yelling at yourself. Skinner sucks. He should be better. I can't believe he didn't make a save. What? I actually think Skinner's kind of been okay this year. Not great. Not awful. Hey, Gregor, Nurse takes a lot of heat. You know it. Don't be obtuse, Robbie. Robbie, go online. Do you think he takes as much heat as Bouchard does? Does it take as much heat as Skinner does? No. Because the Oilers have been winning, number one. They won last year. I host a show, Robbie. You're a texter. You don't read the text line. You have no clue. I can tell you factually that it's been about a 15-1 ratio on complaints on the text line the last year and a half from Bouchard and Skinner compared to Nurse. It's not even close. And if you go on social media, it's the same thing. The only one obtuse in this situation, Robbie, is you because you're commenting on things that aren't even true. All you got to do is go look online. It's right out there. Go check it out. It's pretty simple. Right. How many national articles are written about Nurse and why, can't make Team Canada? None. It's about Evan Bouchard. Right. Stuart Skinner mentions it as goal, and then people mock him. Right? No one even mentions Nurse in the conversation. Get real. Let's take a quick break. Come back. Yaremchuk joins us. John Walton. We got winner of all potty man. We got a great first 2 hours of the show leading up to the pregame show on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
I'm making my list, checking it twice. And guess what? I'm giving Wilhauk beef jerky to everyone, naughty and nice. Because honestly, everyone deserves a taste of Alberta's finest, no matter if they've been bad or good. So this holiday season, skip the chocolates and pass on the turkey. Make sure you're Wilhauking around the Christmas tree with Alberta's best beef jerky. Ho, ho, ho!
Call to place your pre-order today at 780-986-2537.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal, and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
He's heading into the driveway. Temperature's dropping fast, folks. He opens the hood and, oh no, the battery's on thin ice.
Yeah, that's a tough break, Tim. I mean, you can't expect to compete and win with weak parts in your game like that.
But wait, he's made a clutch move. He's gone to Napa Auto Parts for the win. They've got batteries, winter-grade oils, antifreeze, and wiper blades built for cold Alberta conditions.
That's a championship play, Tim.
With over 85 Alberta locations, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Winter in Alberta doesn't mess around.
And neither does Titan Supply,
For over 50 years, we've earned the trust of our customers across a variety of industries.
because we lead with integrity
Honesty.
and respect.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Brent from
From
Titan
Titan
Supply. When the weather hits hard,
We're fully stocked with rigging, lifting, and hauling gear that works as hard as you do.
Titan Supply,
Built on trust, driven by safety.
serving Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary.
Let us help you face the weather the Titan way.
Visit titansupply.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Northwest Crane, available for all your lifting and equipment needs, specializing in selling and servicing cranes. Get lifting at northwestcrane.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.226, welcome back. It is game day. The Oilers in the nation's capital of the United States, Washington, to take on the aptly named Capitals. Tonight, it'll be Stu Skinner in goal for the Oilers and the red-hot Logan Thompson, who leads the NHL with a .925 save percentage. Also, the only starting goalie with the goals against average under 2. He comes in at 1.85 goals against average. He has allowed 2 goals or less in 11 of his 13 starts. So this one could be leaning towards the under, maybe at playalberta.ca. We shall see. Let's get to the oil report, brought to you by Go Auto. Did you know that Go Auto has donated more than $24 million to local charities? They take pride in the communities where they live and do business. GoAuto.ca. And so from Oilers Nation. Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Greggs. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, good. I'm better than the Oilers defensive game. I can tell you that.
That's a incredibly low bar, Gregor. I'm pretty sure if you just don't get hit by a car, you're having a better day than the Oilers defensive game.
Oh God, it has been somewhat of a Keystone Cop situation, a tire fire to say the least at times in their own zone. They're going to swap out their D pairs tonight, and I understand why. Bouchard's going to play with Nurse to start. They do have 7 D men, so we'll see how regular the pairs are. But Wallman's with Regula, and Ekholm is going to play with Kulak. Kulak's going to start on the right side. And who knows? Maybe that'll get him out of his funk, because this has been the worst stretch of games Kulak's ever played for the Edmonton Oilers. He's been outscored 12-0 in his last 9 games in the month of November.
Yeah, I mean, you always hear the stories about guys in contract years having big performances. Kulak's on the other end of that spectrum, and it's unfortunate, right? Because he's been such an important part of this blue line for the last number of years. I was talking with Liam today on our show about this, and he kind of pointed out that if you go back, like in the playoffs, Brett Kulak was playing a ton, and his metrics were really good, and his minutes per game this season in all situations, it's down like 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes and 45 seconds a game, and his numbers are way down. And I wonder if maybe that's a guy who, if they just crank up the minutes for a couple of games, does it allow him to just play through this tough stretch? And I know it's a quarter of the season, which is, just calling it a tough stretch is maybe putting it a bit too politely, but maybe if they crank up the minutes on him a little bit, it can just allow him to play through it. I don't know. Maybe that's reaching, but the Oilers need to do something to get him going because he's important.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, there's always lots of online myths. Over the last 2 seasons and the start of this year, Bouchard and Nurse have only played, like, not a ton, but they've played like 250 minutes together. When they're on the ice together, they've outshot the opposition 164-99 and outscored them 13-11. So the myth that's Nurse and Bouchard are never good together. But again, that seems to be more of an online thing that doesn't really match the actual numbers.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it gives each pairing a bit more of a defined role, right? Like Ekholm and Kulak, that's going to be used, D-zone a lot, I would assume, maybe in some tougher matchups against the other team's better players. Nurse, Bouchard, they're probably going to get a lot of minutes with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and they want them transporting the puck with their big guns on the ice. So I think it can work. I'm totally fine with this. I know there was, again, sort of like an online narrative when these lines came out today that it was like, guys are failing upwards in the lineup, right? Mangiapane's getting moved up and Nurse is on the top pairing. And it's like, we can't criticize Chris Knobloch for these lines because he only has these 18 skaters. Like, anyone who's angry about how Knobloch's deploying things here, I don't know. I think you're out to lunch on this one.
Yeah. Well, I look at, I think they're trying to spread out the offense a bit.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll see if it works or not. But I look at the Oilers, and they got a lot of guys that were starting to play better. Their top guys up until, like, everybody's stunk in Buffalo. It's an odd thing why they can't play well in Buffalo. It's crazy to think. The Oilers are they got the second most wins in the league since 2020 on the road, and they can't win in Buffalo and they can't win in Columbus. 2 of the worst teams in that time span. It's wild, but that's sports, and that's why it's funny to watch. But their top guys have played better this month after a slow October, but now their depth guys are shooting blanks all over the ice. They don't have a goal.
Yeah, they haven't found the back of the net yet. It's concerning, and I haven't been a huge fan of going 11-7 in the past, and I know again tonight it is like circumstantial. These are the guys Chris Knobloch has to play. The injuries have forced his hand. But I am curious, like a Frederick Hyman duo. Okay, you give them some shifts with McDavid. Maybe Zach Hyman can pull a little bit more fight out of Trent Frederick. Again, it sucks that it's even gotten to this point that we're reaching for things like hoping Zach Hyman can help get Trent Frederick to, lay some big hits and play a little bit faster and all of those things he's lacking right now. But maybe the 11-7 will work because Connor and Leon are rolling. I'll be curious tonight if they use Jack Roslovic as a center as well to maybe rotate through some of those lines because they did use him as a centerman when they loaded up McDavid and Draisaitl last game. So he's a hot hand right now. Maybe him getting some shifts with a guy like Trent Frederick can help wake him up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe this will end up being a bit of a blessing in disguise because this offense needs something to change. So again, they haven't gone 11-7 in a couple of weeks. Maybe this will be the shakeup they need to get some of those lower end guys going.
Well, nothing can hurt at this point.
No.
You might as well try something different because what you have tried hasn't been working for a while. I think that is safe to say for lots of different guys. So we'll see how it goes tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. When you look at, you mentioned Frederick and the theory behind, hey, maybe he's playing with a guy like with Zach Hyman, and maybe that can energize him a bit. Hyman had 11 hits in his first game, and I looked at Frederick's numbers this year, and like when he fought Olivier, I'm like, okay, well, I like the idea of it, but that's not going to help his game, right? He needs to hit someone. You play mad, play aggressive, get into a scrum, get yourself engaged in the game. And this Washington has a lot of big bodies. Mm-hmm. This could be a physical game. This should be a game where Trent Frederick's like, okay, there's lots of guys I can hit and lots of guys will hit me. And sometimes getting hit gets you in the game.
Yeah, totally. I even just think like there's still a little bit of Frederick. I was hoping the Olivier thing would maybe drag him into the physicality a little bit more after that and maybe just wake him up and rattle him a little bit. Like you said, similar to, having someone run into you and lay a big hit on you. Sometimes just getting your face punched a couple of times can also kind of, perk you up a little bit. Hasn't been doing that. I would like to see Trent Frederick, again, go to the net, start some scrums a little bit more. Like, I'm not the biggest Curtis Lazar fan, but he's been noticeable in that regard where like he'll go to the front of the net, the whistle will blow, and he'll just grab someone. And he played like a guy who makes, league minimum. He's could very well be on waivers in the next month. And he plays like a guy who knows that, who is like, man, if I don't bring it every single night, I could lose my job. And Trent Frederick, I don't think he signed an 8-year contract, kicked his feet up this summer and was like, perfect, mission accomplished. I can just chill for the next 8 years and collect paychecks. Like, no one makes it to the NHL with that being their style or their work ethic or whatever. But at times it feels like Trent Frederick's just been almost a little bit too patient and been like, hey, things are going to come to me if I just keep going out there and skating around cautiously for 12, 13 minutes a game. And I don't know, maybe this is a situation where when guys get healthy, he needs to be sat out to wake up, but I'd like to see him have a little bit more of what Curtis Lazar had, that like desperation and playing every single shift. Like, what, if I don't bring it on this shift and hit someone or do something noticeable, maybe I won't get a shift the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, probably doesn't have to worry about that tonight when you got 11 forwards. But I see the premise, and it makes sense at that point. The Capitals have been they're bringing in unreal goaltending. Their goaltending numbers are great. Their goals against average is great. Their defensive play is just okay. Kevin Woodley actually outlined it that Logan Thompson's expected save percentage is like 888, but it's 925 because he's playing off the charts good. And so maybe the Oilers can generate something, but teams just haven't been able to beat Logan Thompson. Like maybe tonight's the night that Trent Frederick goes old school and, bumps the goalie a little bit. Take a page out of Hyman's book and go to the net all the time.
Yeah, and like, again, that ties into what I was saying. Like, if things aren't going well for you and you're Trent Frederick, go park yourself in front and piss someone off. Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And the other thing with the Oilers' offensive attack and Logan Thompson being as good as he is, what's not going to fly tonight is the perimeter play and just kind of cycling it around the offensive zone for 45 seconds without any sort of meaningful traffic, without any sort of, again, I keep going back to desperation, but like, people keep complaining the Oilers shoot the puck from the blue line too much. And sure, I guess you can look at the numbers and be like, why are the defensemen shooting the puck so much? But that can be a good thing if guys are going to the net. Like, the issue isn't purely, the D-men are shooting too much. It's the D-men are shooting while there's maybe sometimes one guy in front of the net and the other two forwards are on their half walls looking for them to set it up and cycle. Like, that's not going to fly tonight against Logan Thompson. If you are net getting second chance opportunities and going to the crease and honestly getting some lucky bounces tonight, you're not scoring more than 1 or 2 goals on Thompson.
Yeah, I debunked that myth last week in my game day notes when I went through Bouchard and Ekholm and Nurse and everybody's numbers. Their shots on goal were lower. Bouchard actually had at that time 26 fewer shot blocks than he had at the exact through 17 games last year. It's not from a lack of it's not from having too many shots. In fact, Bouchard and Ekholm as a duo at 5-on-5 had almost 25 fewer shots than they had last year at that point. Right. So the difference, I would argue, and Nurse was actually at the exact same. It had 37 the year, no, not the exact same. It was at 37. He was down 2 shots on goal. He was basically the same. Kulak was down 4 shots, if my memory's correct. Wallman was about the same. Granted, he was in San Jose. But Bouchard and Ekholm combined were almost 20 fewer shots. So I would argue they actually need more shots when their top guys are on the ice because usually their top guys play with the top unit.
Yeah, and again, maybe the reason why it's become a narrative and it irritates people so much is because there are a lot of times where they cycle the puck for 25 seconds and then it's like a wrist shot from the point that the goalie swallows up and it's like, there was no second chance there. No one was screening the goalie and it maybe sticks in your brain a little bit more. But again, more traffic is just my big thing. Like, how many times have the Oilers given up a goal because the other team just has 2 guys in front of the net and the puck kind of squirts to them. No one's covering them and boom, a little bit of chaos results in a goal against. Like, apply that to the other end of the ice. Put 2 guys in front of the net. Don't stand on the half wall. Go stand next to the blue paint and maybe you'll just get a good bounce and have a puck fall your way. Like, a majority of the goals in the NHL are scored from that bubble in front of the net, and the Oilers are struggling to figure that out right now.
Yeah, Tyler Remchuk joins us. The Oilers against the Capitals, to me, is fascinating. Then they got Tampa Bay, and then they got Florida. Do you think there's any, like, Florida doesn't have a Kachuk, but, they still got a lot of their other guys. Now, Gadjevich is out, so they don't have a true heavyweight. Do you think there'll be, like, any consecutive Stanley Cup loss anger from the Oilers on Saturday in Florida?
I don't think so. I mean, Kachuk, like you said, he's probably a guy who would be instigating a little bit that, and he's probably the guy that if there was an Oiler who wants to take a run at anybody on that Florida team, it's probably some guys who want to get a lick in on Matt Kachuk, but they're missing Barkov too, so they still have a lot of the same old. Marchand and Bennett are obviously there, but I just don't think with what we've seen from the Oilers the last 2 weeks, they're going to roll into that building and all of a sudden they're going to be wanting to take runs at guys and play ultra physical. Like, it just doesn't feel like that's who the Oilers are. So I don't know. I'll go ahead and say no. Along the lines of Florida, though, did you see they're going to be out without Luosterainen as well because he burnt his hand barbecuing?
Hey, dude. Yeah, that's not a good one. We have Aaron Volpati coming on the show, Tyner, and 40% of his body's second-degree burns when he was 20 years of age playing junior A hockey and still made it to the NHL. It's a wild story. I didn't even know that when he played in the league. It's crazy. And so, but you Bert, like his description, even now when I'm just talking to you, his description of what he had to endure in the burn unit, it's like I was like, oh my God, like I should read one page of it because I took a picture. I was going to post it. I think I got it here. Oh yeah, here I'll read it to you. Just so you know, like for people listening, they harvested the skin with the dermatome, which was nothing more than a glorified cheese slicer, just much sharper, I assumed. The blade would be placed on the desired areas, and they would essentially skin me alive. Well, alive, but sleeping because he was passed out on, they put him under. The skin is then meshed with me, which means stretching it out. This is important in split thickness grafts because of the lack of donor skin available. It allowed for less donor skin to cover a larger area than it normally would if unmeshed. The meshing leaves little holes throughout, which increases the chances of a successful take of the skin grafts. It was as if the skin was aerated, the same concept as aerating your lawn. Aerating your lawn allows vital nutrients to reach the root system. You can still see the meshing on my grafts to this day, and it's pretty cool. The wound bed is then cleaned, and this harvested skin is laid over top and secured with staples into the healthy skin surrounding it. Then it's wrapped in dressing for several days. The bad news? The donor sites were the equivalent of second-degree burns since the first two layers of skin are removed. So instead of being 40% burnt, that number would climb to about 60%. This means more pain, and I'd be bedridden again for almost an entire week. It felt like I was going right back to where I started. Like, it's a great description. Like, you can visualize it, right? And then imagine that you end up going back. And at the time that he got burnt, Tyler, he didn't have an NCAA scholarship. He had never even had one NCAA team call him prior to that. And he still found a way to get a scholarship at Brown, by the way, a very good university, like educated university, and then make it to the NHL. It's a wild story.
Yeah, two things on that. First off, I was driving in and listening to your first segment today, and I get queasy very easily. So when you were talking about the burn stuff, I just kept turning off my radio and then turning it back on every 15 seconds. So I appreciate you repeating it at a point when I cannot turn it off. That's great. Secondly, I played against him, and I believe it was him at the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament 1 year.
Okay.
And for, again, 114 games in the NHL, like, he never scored a lot of. It is such a great reminder when you get on the ice with anyone who played any level of pro hockey, how terrible. Like, sometimes I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good at beer league. I got a couple of goals tonight. You get out there against anyone who is even close to being a pro, and it's like, good reminder of how terrible I am at hockey and how just beyond elite the guys who can make it to that level are.
Oh, yeah. No, and it's so I look forward to that story and overcoming. And I'm teasing everybody with what he did. And he believes is the main reason he was able to overcome stuff. I think it's going to surprise some people. So that's coming up in a bit. And when you hear it, I think the Oilers might have to consider doing some of this because right now they got to change something. Because we're coming up on, like, it's over a quarter of the season, and the Oilers, out of 21 games, maybe 3, you would say, okay, I liked, maybe, probably 2.
I think Vancouver, game 2 of the year. I liked that one. Utah wasn't a complete effort by any means, but I liked the fight and the comeback they had. And boy, slim pickings.
Yeah. Like it's not there hasn't been a lot of this is a good game. So the other got to get it going. Do you think they can find a way to score 3 goals against the Capitals tonight?
Oh man, and the other side of it too. Like Stuart Skinner, I haven't hated his game this year, but like there's a part of me that's worried 3 won't even be enough, and 3 seems like a tall order for Logan Thompson. So honestly, I'm doubtful. They're coming towards the tail end here, or I should say maybe they're right in the middle of a tough long road trip. I don't think like if mental fatigue, physical fatigue has been something that's plaguing them so far, I don't think that gets better in the middle of a road trip. So if I'm being honest, as much as I love coming on and being an optimist and drinking the orange and blue Kool-Aid, I have a tough time thinking they can solve Thompson tonight.
Ty, we'll chat with you later, man. Have a great one. Enjoy the games. 3 and 4 nights. Should be fun.
Sounds good. See you, Greg.
There you go. That's Tyler Remchuk from Oilers Nation. We will go out to Washington. The Capitals. Ovi, is he heating up? 3 goals in his last 4 games. Logan Thompson's been scorching hot all year long. And how will the Capitals match up to the Oilers? We'll find out next. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
More fruit?
Check.
Satisfying texture?
Check.
3 amazing new recipes?
Check, check, check.
Let Booster Juice bowl you over with something completely different. 3 new acai bowls, loaded with delicious toppings including bee pollen, cacao nibs, and shredded coconut. Piled high on top of a refreshing blend of authentic acai, straight from Brazil. Spoon?
Check.
Booster Juice, Canada's original juice and acai bowl bar.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Snow, colder weather, shorter days. November is officially here. But it doesn't all have to be bad news. If you're thinking about a new or used vehicle, now is the time. Massive savings, 0% financing, and don't forget tires at cost. Yes, that's right. We sell winter tires at cost. There's lots to celebrate in November. And as always, we'd like to thank all of those who have fought and served for our country. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Bring in the new year with a Canadian country legend. December 31st, in concert at the Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Brett Kissel. She drives me crazy. Multiple CCMA and Juno Award winner, platinum-selling recording artist, and top 10 hitmaker. Celebrate the new year in Alberta, country style. Bring your friends, your cowboy boots, and your party spirit for a night full of hits, celebration, and unforgettable memories. The countdown to 2026 starts with Brett Kissel live on stage. Get your tickets now at silenticecenter.com/events.
When you have lifting and material handling needs, Northwest Crane delivers. Western Canada's Sandy dealer, backed by the industry's toughest one. 3 years, 3,000 hours, no compromises. They service all crane makes and models with skilled technicians and deep industry expertise. Alberta owned with locations in Leduc and Grand Prairie and fully equipped service trucks. Northwest Crane keeps your operation lifting. For more information on sales or service, visit northwestcrane.com or call today.
Don't look now, but I think we're being followed.
Oh, that's just my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Well, they're driving pretty close.
Because they're attached.
Save up to 15% on select tires until December 13th.
Cool.
Plus, get up to $125 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires.
Anything else?
Get $50 off a $150 service when you buy those tires.
Well, that's handy.
Yep.
And weird.
Well, I love my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Book your appointment online today. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.247, we continue on game day. Oilers in Washington to take on the Great Eight and the Washington Capitals, who right now it's the Great Thompson, Logan Thompson, having an unreal start to the season for the Washington Capitals. The Oilers will go 11-7 tonight. They only have 11 healthy forwards. Curtis Lazar, Noah Philp are both out. They're not going to play for the rest of the road trip. Minimum 3 games. Nugent Hopkins, Kapanen, not ready yet either. So, and they don't have any cap space. So, unless I guess in theory they could put a defenseman on waivers, but that wouldn't have helped him for today. So, you know what? Are you going to put a defenseman on waivers just to call up a forward and then maybe risk like if Troy Stetcher gets claimed, Alex Regula's getting claimed 100%. So I could see why you wouldn't do that if you're the Edmonton Oilers. So they'll go 11-7. And then even if they get an injury tonight, they would have to play a player short tomorrow before they could call someone else up, because you have to play a man short per day. So that's the cap crunch they're in with all these short-term injuries on the Oilers right now. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. McChicken, filet of fish, medium fries, and a medium drink. Get either one of those extra value meals for only $9.99 right now at McDonald's. And we go out to the nation's capital of our neighbor to the south, into Washington. John Walton, the voice of the Capitals, joins us. And John, we had Kevin Woodley talking about how, sometimes the goalie gets a great environment and maybe his numbers are good. And he's like, Thompson hasn't had a great environment. It's just been okay, just slightly below average, but his numbers are off the charts good. And I looked, he's started 13 games. He's only allowed more than 2 goals twice in 13 games. Like, this guy has he been easily their MVP through the first quarter of the season?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think when you look at his body of work, and I think we saw many of these same things about a year ago when he first got here, and he ended up going 31-6, but the Capitals were scoring a few more goals. And things were going really from the drop of the puck last season. The Caps bolted out and never looked back on their way to the best team in the Eastern Conference. This has been very different, but Logan has been the same. And when you look at high danger chances against, when you look at the goals against average, when you look at the save percentage, I know that he and Tom Wilson both have Olympic aspirations. I feel like Wilson is trending in that direction. Quite frankly, Logan Thompson needs to if you're Team Canada, because he's the best there is. He's the best in the NHL right now. And the Capitals are 1 game above 500 coming into this game tonight, when they have not been as good a team on the whole than they were certainly this time last year. But he is, fair to say, very much the MVP here as we get into the second quarter.
So if you look at the Capitals last year till this year, what's been the biggest difference early on for them that they're not as good as they were last year?
Well, the special teams are the first place to look, where the power play has been not very good at all, and the penalty kill has at times been brutal, and they're losing games because of it. The thing is that when you look at their goal differential, they're +5. I mean, they are doing just fine at 5-on-5. They are scoring what should be enough goals to win at 5-on-5, but the special teams, more often than not, a couple weeks ago, they're in Buffalo. It's a tie game. They get 3 power plays in the third period. They don't score, and they end up losing in the shootout. That probably sums up why this team is where it is in the standings. They should be much higher, but they've done just enough to lose games, and a lot of nights it's because of special teams. If that improves, I think the Capitals will improve. There are also a number of guys that are, compared to last year, hitting below their weight. Alexei Protas, a guy who scored 30 last year, really struggling here in the first quarter of the season. Connor McMichael had a really nice start last year, just picked up this past weekend his first 5-on-5 goal. He's only got 2 on the season. So there are guys that have more to give, and you would think, law of averages over the course of the season, there's going to be some regression from last year, but when you look at it on a whole, I mean, some of these guys are certainly going to bounce back too. And when they do, that's certainly going to behoove the Capitals, and you got to believe that they're going to move up and certainly still be a force to be reckoned with, given the fact that defensively they're very good. 5-on-5, they're one of the very best in the league. They've given up the fewest 5-on-5 goals in the league entering play tonight against the Oilers. So a lot of positives here. They just got to find a few more positives, mostly involving offense and special teams.
When you look at a guy like Protas, he is a man-child, and I know him back from his days in Prince Albert when they won the Western Hockey League title that year, and he was a 17-year-old, and he was huge, and you saw this raw talent, and it's just, you know what, he's filled out, and last year seemed to be kind of like his coming out party a little bit for the Capitals. He does everything well. Is he pressing this year? What are you not seeing from him early on?
Yeah, I think pressing is it. Spencer Carberry's talked about this in recent days with us about, his game just a little bit off. Those are his words, not mine. But I think some of it, when you just watch him day to day and you're around him, I think it's just a crisis of confidence. It's not health. He's in great shape. He's still an unbelievable skater. I think this is one of those situations that when he's able to get that first one, he had a big weekend. I mean, going back to the beginning of the season, first road game of the year, Capitals are playing the Islanders, gets a couple of goals, gets 3 points, and you're like, yep, picking right up where he left off. And then it just really hasn't happened since then. So I think it's a matter of confidence. Every goal scorer is going to go through it. And certainly from, a guy that has the expectation now of being a 30-goal guy, and you're not there, and then you start to press. I think that's exactly what's happening. I also think he's going to get out of it, and he's going to be fine.
The last time these two teams met in Washington, Ovechkin had his 32nd career hat trick. It was his first against the Edmonton Oilers. I've noticed that he's got 3 goals in his last 4 games. So for him, he's heating up a little bit. And hey, you've watched him for a long time. When this guy gets on a roll, he rolls. Now, the one thing I've noticed, he is shooting the puck at the lowest rate of his career by a significant margin. It's only at 2.3 shots per game. I think there's only been 2 years of his career where he was under 4 shots per game. And, one of them was last year, but he still had, he had the best shooting percentage of his career. Now, I know he's going to slow down, but does he need to shoot the puck more? Is it just, what do you attribute that big of a dip in the shots on goal from the grade 8?
I think there's a couple of factors. I mean, part of it is he's 40, but yeah. I think part of it too is that he's out in different situations. One thing that we've seen this season that we haven't seen before is he really doesn't get any starts in the D zone anymore. In fact, okay. I'm not sure if he's seen one, but in the first 12, 13 games, I know he didn't have any. And I think it's, it's deployment, it's managing, a little bit more between, just not this foot speed that he used to have. Getting into positions for shots. It's a number of things. But the one thing that I will say that when you look at where this team is right now in the last 3 games, Spencer Carberry's done a lot of different line combinations and not necessarily to good effect, where the chemistry just hasn't been there. The goals haven't been there. It's, very much just not quite happening for this team right now. And when you take into account that the line changes recently have put Connor McMichael back on a line with Alex Ovechkin, Dylan Strome's in the middle of that. That's been better. And McMichael's got points in 2 straight, and Ovechkin's got goals in 2 straight, and they seem to have found something there. So I'm interested to see how that goes tonight against the Oilers defense. We've seen Justin Sourdif moved up at a lightning-like speed, somewhat by necessity with no Pierre-Luc Dubois, but he's a second-line center right now and has done well in defensive assignments and skates north, not afraid to go to the front of the net. And he's been between Protas and Wilson. So, there's more there. There's a lot of things that just in the last 2 games seem to be working better. But for Alex, it's been working better too. And I think that's something that going into not only tonight, but here in the not so distant future, they're starting to score some more goals that way.
What is the update? How long is Dubois out for?
We're not going to see him, I don't think, until after the Olympics. And that's a huge, huge loss. When you look at and the Oilers game here last year was as good an example as any, where Connor McDavid didn't get a shot on goal that night.
Yeah.
And that was in large part because of the defensive effort of Pierre-Luc Dubois. He did it to a lot of guys. Austin Matthews, he would be the first guy deployed, and there'd be a lot of D-zone starts for him. But that's not available now. So what Spencer Carberry gets with the last change at home tonight is being, it's going to be Nick Dowd. It's going to be Justin Sordiff. It's going to be a little bit of Dylan Strome. But looking at that last change of like, okay, what's this matchup going to be now? And it has to be by committee. And that's a huge hit for this team without PLD.
That was my last question for you. So what do you foresee as, the matchups that Carberry's going to want tonight against McDavid's line and then maybe against Draisaitl's line?
Well, if they're on different lines, that's probably, I can understand from Chris Knobloch's perspective why you'd want to do that when you already have a little bit of pickup maybe down the middle, and now you've got to force the Caps' hand a little bit. That seems to be wise. But I think, it's going to be, maybe it's 20% Justin Sordiff. I think Nick Dowd probably is the guy that gets a lot of that just because he's such a D-zone start guy to begin with. He's their best face-off guy. And try and just do it with puck possession. He's good defensively. It probably means some of his best time on ice of the season might be tonight and playing against either or. But, I mean, having them separate, where I know they've been together recently too, that, may force the Caps to do some things differently than they, might not have wanted to. But we'll see. But I think Nick Dowd's probably the focal point for that.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Johnny, really appreciate it as always, man. Enjoy the game tonight.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one. That is John Walton, the longtime voice of the Washington Capitals. So Strome and Dowd. Now, the interesting thing is, like, you got Justin Sordiff at center, but he's centering Wilson and Protas. They're massive. All right. So, yeah, you might have a little inexperience down the middle, but you got two huge wingers on that line. So I wonder if, he's probably going to get some time against him as well. So I've said it many times. If I'm Chris Knobloch, I'm going to tape my mouth so I can't yell McDavid and Draisaitl. Unless they're on the power play or the odd shift after a penalty kill, I don't need them playing together. I do not want to see, it's 0-0 after one period. Oh, we got to play McDavid and Draisaitl together. No. Stay away from it. Look at something else. It hasn't worked. Okay? It really hasn't worked. The Oilers have 4 regulation wins all season. David and Draisaitl played a lot of time together. It hasn't worked this year. Just accept it. It's frustrating. I get it, but it's not working. Right? It hasn't given you what you want. The Oilers have won 9 of 21 games, 4 of them in regulation. So keep them apart. Let's see what happens. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. They got winter tires at cost. Yeah, that's right. At cost. Don't believe me? Check it out yourself. NorthgateGM.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
It's game day as the Oilers in Washington to take on the Capitals. Puck drop just after 5. We've got pregame coverage here on Sports 1440 starting at 4 o'clock with Gregor in the land in Ferraro. Elsewhere, Sabres host the Flames, Hurricanes in Minnesota, and the Ducks up against the Bruins. In the WHL, the Oil Kings in Kelowna taking on the Rockets. Puck drop 8:05 in the association at 9 games tonight, including the Raptors in Philadelphia. Pacers host the Hornets. Rockets taking on the Cavs. You got the Heat up against Miami. Thunder host the Kings, and the Knicks in Dallas to take on the Mavericks. In the AJ1 game, Devin heads to Camrose at 7 o'clock from the CFL. Elks making a couple moves, extending defensive back Cordell Jackson and defensive lineman Noah Curtis. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by longtime NHL player agent Rich Winter and former NHLer Aaron Volpatti. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
For one day only, Friday, November 21st, the Brick is releasing Black Friday deals early.
Sports
Get a sneak peek at the hottest offers on furniture,
.ca,
mattresses,
YouTube.
appliances, and electronics. Save 65% off sofas when you buy the matching Love Cedar chair, up to 50% off mattresses, and up to $1,000 off when you buy two
Day,
or more
the
select indoor
Oilers
appliances.
in.
Plus, they pay the GST. Check out more one-day only deals and additional offers in store.
In
Some exclusions apply.
Washington.
See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Mr. Rooter watches the big game.
Go deep! What you watching, Mr. Rooter? The Plumbing Olympics. Frankie Dragon Sanchez is attempting to break the world record in the 100-meter snake. Watch! Wow! Did you see that? He snaked out a 50-pound clog. And in the middle of that wad, a gold medal. What theater?
Yeah, that's very cool, Mr. Rooter.
For a plumber who's good as gold, call Mr. Rooter.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
If you're looking for nonstop sports coverage, tune into Sports 1440, Edmonton's only sports radio station.
24/7 coverage comes at you with expert commentary, in-depth analysis,
And so much more.
We are Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, on Oilers game days, there's always odds boosts for the Oilers as they look to get a victory tonight in Washington against the Capitals. It'll be Skinner versus Thompson. Philp and Lazar are both out for the remainder of the road trip. The Oilers are down to 11 healthy forwards and 7 defensemen. They don't have any cap space. So they can't recall anyone, in case you're wondering why. And even if they got a player injured tonight, they would have to play a man short tomorrow in Tampa. Then they could, you have to play a man short for a game. Then you could recall someone on an emergency basis. So that's where you go tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox as we get to our big guest of the day today in the business of sports, brought to you by Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment. You check it out, the Silent Ice Sports facility just south of Edmonton. And if you're looking for a New Year's party, they got Brett Kissel playing at New Year's. You can get your tickets at Silent ice. As we are joined by a longtime NHL agent, Rich Winter. Rich, how you doing, my man?
Good. I've been researching names for the new NHL expansion teams. I'm thinking iguana, rattlesnakes, since I'm, for the first time in my hockey career, between destinations in the middle of the Mojave Desert.
The Mojave. Say where you're coming. You got your shades on. It's pretty bright in the
Well,
background.
I don't have any shades on. Those are just the tints on my glasses, so I can't do anything about that. But no, it's I'm driving from Bakersfield, where I saw a game last night, going over to Palm Springs, which will end up being pretty. I'd never taken this road. It's a little bit like being first in the Australian outback, then somewhere in South Africa in sort of a safari land, and now it's completely desert. I'm with on an Indigenous Nation reserve here right now, sitting near the Grower T ballpark, which was dedicated on July 4th in 1985. No one playing today.
Really? Okay. Did not know that. We have Aaron Volpatti is going to join us coming up at 3:20, and he's got an unreal story. He played in the NHL. I remember him, as a feisty, middleweight guy who was a really good hitter, but I did not know his story, and his story is unbelievable. 40% of his body, second-degree burns at the age of 20, when he didn't even have interest from anybody for a scholarship at that point in his life. It's wild. So we'll get to that with Aaron coming up. A great story about perseverance for sure, which is really what you need to have success in any business in life, really. So I think this will be a great story. And at times maybe a little queasy for some, because we're going to get into, his recovery from the burns and everything, and just the pain of it. Like, oh my God, I'm sure you've read his book, Rich, but you're reading it, and at times it's like, oh my God, I'm squirming just thinking about it. Cause I've been in a hospital, I've heard people yell, but I've never been in a burn unit.
Well, I think the thing that's so compelling, I think this happened in mid-May or late May of the year he gets burned, and he makes a decision that he's going to play the following season. He gets a call from Brown University from the coach at that time, whose name escapes me, saying, we're still interested. We need some physicality. And the story is, it's a great read because the chapters are short, chapter after chapter. You're just going, I can't believe this. I get guys whining, complaining that their sticks aren't right and their skates need to be rockered, and they got all kinds of complaints. And here's a guy who's sitting in the hospital, wrapped head to toe, being debrided, which he'll describe, which is horrific. And he decides he's going to play. He's going to play the next season, and he's on the ice for game one. It's and then to go from there and then get through Brown University and become a member of the Vancouver Canucks, initially basically his hometown team. I went living in Revelstoke. I'd heard of it, and then I'm just reading his book. You can't put it down. It's just one of those ones you go like, okay, I can read 3 more chapters before I hit the sack.
Yeah, I know. It's very good. Now you're in Bakersfield, you got the Pitlick brothers. I'm assuming that's who you go to see. Yeah. And I know that having those guys sign there, I think it's the first time they've ever played together, correct?
Yeah, that's true. It's something they've wanted to do, and Rem's leading the team in scoring. I think he's still leading the team in scoring. Rhett's, he's a younger player. He's going to take a little time. He's got a high level of skill. He's just got to work on being a little bit more engaged defensively. But, in an organization with very little depth, it's good to have Rem here. He's not that far off from being a call-up if he continues to play the way he is. And he's got some NHL experience. But Rhett's got some work to do to figure out the pro game. But he's got a high level of skill.
Now, as an agent, when you were younger, as an agent, Rich, when you were first starting out, like, how blunt were you with guys? Okay, you got to be better defensively. Or has it changed so much now that you can sit with a guy and say, hey, I want to be honest with you and tell you, hey, if you want to make it, this is what you need to do. How do you maneuver that? Is it easier now with, 30 years experience to know how to sometimes maybe, talk openly with your client about their strengths and weaknesses of their game?
Well, I've always told players there's 2 things in every contract. There's money and opportunity. We better not screw with the opportunity. So let's talk about it now, because ultimately opportunity leads to money. And, so it was interesting yesterday because I met with Keith Gretzky, the GM here, as you know, and, Keith made a strategic move to make sure we met at the middle of after the second, between the second and third, because he wanted me to see 2 periods. And, it was interesting. We were both on the same page. He was all excited, because I think guys are always nervous when agents come to town. They wonder what complaints they're going to hear. And, we were sort of slapping each other in the back going, oh, this is awesome. We're on the same page. But, we're in a partnership, and I don't think that's always recognized by a lot of GMs, because ultimately, if both of these players play in the NHL, who wins? Keith wins, I win, they win. And I think it's incumbent on us. I mean, I spend more time with the younger guys, because when a guy's making $6 or $8 million, like, what problem does he have? And these guys they're always apologizing, not just the Pitlicks, but I know you're busy. I know you're busy. I'm going, yeah, I'm busy helping guys like Marty Straka, the old days, get back to the NHL. You get to the NHL. That's what we do, because ultimately those $6-8 million players, they pay the rent. And we don't know who that guy's going to be, but it could be, Red could be one of those guys. He's got a skill level that mirrors a Johnny Gaudreau. He's got a lot of work to do, a little small. He's got to get a little bit of weight on. And so we talk about it. I was very candid with him last night, and about what they need to do. We do a process in our organization. It's a goal-setting program. We call it 2+2+2. We work with the team to get clearly identify their player 2 things, because you don't give them 5 things. They won't get even 1 done. 2 things they do on the ice in games, and 2 during practice, and 2 off the ice. We got really focused on that last night and basically said goal setting starts Monday. And you're going to get in the office of the coaches. You're going to get very clear, and you're going to start delivering what they want. Because it's shocking probably to listeners to think, I ask an NHL player what he thinks his coach wants, and mostly they don't really know. They know they want him to play the system. But these coaches, they don't have time. Michael Jordan had a personal coach. Kobe Bryant had a personal coach, because even playing for the best coach maybe in the history of sport, he's got 20 guys or whatever they have in basketball, right?
15.
And so it is what it is. And I just noticed my battery's running low, so if I lose you, I'll just have to join by phone, I guess.
So when they go in and you have a personal coach, let's say, for guys, like if you had a personal coach for a player, it's kind of, I guess, like you have a skills coach in the off season, in a way that you work on stuff to help your development, but it never interjects with what the system that the coach wants. But if you're improving your skill set, right, it should help you as a player, because the head coach, he's more so worried about, okay, I want guys to play this way. But I would argue that, a coach should take it upon themselves to ensure that they know what each individual player expect, or no, every player should know what the coach wants from him. That should kind of be a no-brainer.
Well, yeah, it should be a no-brainer, but coaches aren't very good at communicating. They haven't taken communication courses. They're former players. They haven't really got a handle on that, so we help them through that. But what's really important, I always tell the player, I use this example because it's absurd. I said, so if the coach tells you he wants you to stand on one leg during the national anthem, what do? Well, one leg, I guess, and because the reality is we try and work within the system, because like it or not, that guy opens the gate. And if you're not getting on the ice, it doesn't matter how much smarter we are than maybe your coach, you're not on the ice to prove a darn thing. So we focus very much on making sure that the goal setting we're doing and the processes that we do to support it are aligned with what the coach wants. And sometimes we help change the coach. I think a great article, if listeners want to take a look, in The Athletic this last couple of days, Wyatt Kaiser gave an interview to Scott Powers talking about, we've had John Healy on, and talking about the little tiny adjustments you make. And I always tell players, you're not an old jalopy, guys. It's not like we're starting from scratch. You're a formula. You're one of the top 800-900 players in the world at what you do. If you were a car, you're a Formula One Ferrari. We're bringing you into the pit. We're adjusting the carburetor. We might change the tires. We're not revamping you, but those little changes. Wyatt's talking about a third of a second, a quarter of a second in this article today. And those differences are the difference between him being a call-up last year and him playing more 5-on-5 ice time than anybody else in the Chicago Blackhawks. And I think he's one of the best young defensemen in the game because of those little adjustments. So if agencies aren't helping you with that, aren't helping you make them, then you're losing, the opportunities in this game are fleeting. They come, they go. I mean, Dominik Hasek became Dominik Hasek because, John Muckler's favorite son, Grant Fuhr, who he brought in to play the number 1 spot, got hurt. And Dom turned that into a career. And you better be ready when it comes. And these little things are critically important. And confronting kids while they're here, they don't understand the road less traveled. I mean, it doesn't take very long to get off track. and you got to keep them on track, because if you don't, you might see there's tons of players I represent. Some of the greatest young players I've ever represented, you've never heard of them because they didn't focus, because they had the curse of talent. They were so good young. They never did the work. They never focused on the things they needed to. And if we don't do that, it's hard to pay our bills. We got to get these guys to where they need to be or capable of being.
Awesome. When we're going to come back, Aaron Volpati is going to join us, and I think our audience is you will be prepared to be inspired. Coming up next on the Business of Sport here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, presented by Play Alberta.
You know your neighbor, right? The one who watches your house when you're away, who keeps their yard looking nice, who says hello every day. That's us. GS Construction. Now, we probably don't live right beside you, but we do live in your community. And when it comes to water and wastewater infrastructure, moving along smoothly, we're the ones doing that work. GS Construction has been doing it since 1974, over 50 years. So you could say we are your neighbors who wear hard hats and work boots. To find out what your neighbors do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you: Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Snow, colder weather, shorter days. November is officially here. But it doesn't all have to be bad news. If you're thinking about a new or used vehicle, now is the time. Massive savings, 0% financing, and don't forget tires at cost. Yes, that's right. We sell winter tires at cost. There's lots to celebrate in November. And as always, we'd like to thank all of those who have fought and served for our country. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and sadly, some people think orthotics are just glorified shoe cushions. But I've seen a runner drop 8 minutes off her marathon, a grandmother ditch her painkillers, and a 12-year-old nail her long jump, all thanks to custom foot orthotics. So if your feet are screaming for help, flat, high, or funky, that pain's heading to your knees, hips, even your lower back, our professionals will assess you and, if indicated, custom fabricate a pair of orthotics made just for you. Happy feet make a happy person. Feet shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular menu price order when you use promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
3:21. We continue on. Jason Gregor, Rich Winner with you. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, the business of sports. And, we talk a lot about the, different aspects. And, we've had a lot of people on the show, who are in different jobs in the sporting world. And you know what? We're going to have a guy who obviously was a player, which is one of the hardest jobs to do because it's pretty limited in who can get there. Extremely difficult. I remember our next guest is a player, but I'll be honest, I knew nothing about his story until I read his book. And it was the opening chapter just grabs you and pulls you in. Yeah. It is, it's hard not to like it. It's hard not to be inspired. Aaron Volpatti, who was undrafted, played in the BCHL with the Vernon Vipers, then went to Brown University, signed on a ATO, first of all, with the Canucks. Then they got a two-way deal. Of course, he's from Revelstoke, so that was kind of like his hometown team. He grew up cheering. He's a huge Pavel Bure fan. And then made it into the NHL in 2010, 2011. But that's like a lot of guys make it to the NHL. I know that sounds crazy, but lots do. But any player who's done it the way he did it. Aaron, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm good, Jason. Thanks for having me, man. You hit the nail on the head. And Rich, good to see you as well. Listen, I know I'm in enemy territory technically, but hopefully we can have a civilized conversation.
Hey, you know what? No fan here, so it's all good. I'm a fan of good stories, and I'm a huge reader of books. So, I read a ton of books, man, and I really enjoyed your book, first of all. But honestly, the book itself is amazing, and how you describe. I've never heard of debridement, and I hope I never have to experience it. I want to be, before we tell what happened, I want you to describe, because you've been punched in the face, you broke, can you give our listeners a sense of how much pain you really have to go through during and after debridement?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're opening up a can there. It's almost, it is in a way indescribable. I mean, I try my best in the book, obviously, but yeah, you're totally right. I've, hundreds of stitches. Any surgery, I've probably had it. Yeah, this dwarfs all of that combined. It's an interesting phenomenon, I think, right? But for me, it wasn't so much initially, yes, the pain and dealing with that was very difficult. Eventually, it really got to a point of just the relentlessness of that pain every day. The debridement days were obviously worse, and yeah, I can touch on that. The way I described like every day in the burn unit, it was kind of like, I don't know if you have tattoos, but it's basically like getting tattooed 24/7. That's sort of like your baseline. And then the debridement days, you come out of that procedure and it's a 10. And that lasts for a couple of hours. But I mean, to really give the synopsis of what that is, essentially I remember these days very vividly, and they come in your room and because you can't, I couldn't move, right? I'm totally bedridden.
Yeah.
They lift you up off of your hospital bed and they put you on this metal bed and they transport you into this room, and it's kind of like a scene out of a horror movie. There's all these like tools and scalpels, and it's almost like a human car wash. And again, I had to get this done every third day, but the first time, you go in there and you're like, what the hell is this? And you don't even fully know because you're put under, thankfully. But what they do is, and this might get graphic, but you've read the book, so you know.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But because burn tissue swells so much, you take on so much water and the scar tissue builds up so fast, they essentially just have to cut you open and relieve some of that pressure. And they take this like hydrojet, pressure washer, and they essentially just slough off all the scar tissue and the dead skin. So you're basically left, somewhat skinned alive after that procedure. So, yeah, man, it's.
And you had to do it like every second day?
Third day.
Every third day.
every third day until you get that skin graft procedure. So you're basically buying time until you get that procedure done. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to take us back to, like, when we talk about what amazed me in the book, really, Aaron, was, and this happened in 2005 for any of our listeners. You were 20 years of age. You just finished a season, like a lot of junior hockey guys, your season ended in the playoffs and you're having a team party, basically a bush party. And, things went wrong. You basically, you got lit on fire, and 40% of your body, your legs, your torso, your right arm, your hand burnt and burnt pretty bad. And you were like up in a blue mountain. So, you had to get a ride back in. Like how hard was it mentally to get over it and to forgive yourself from just making a bad decision?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, the moment of forgiveness, I had, and again, you've read the book, but I had this moment, or a couple moments, but the first one was when, okay, I'm told that the journey's over now, right? And so it was in that time, those first couple weeks, where I had to deal with, a little bit of, depression and guilt, maybe around like the fact I wouldn't be able to go chase this dream anymore. And for those listening, like, I never even thought about the NHL. Like I wasn't that good. I was just trying to fight and stay in junior A, I was just trying to go to college. That was my NHL. So I was dealing with that for sure. And that, that identity gets taken away and you think, well, what the hell am I going to do with my life now? I was only 20 and I'm a burn survivor. What does that even mean? What does that look like? But, on the other hand, I was also grateful that I was, A, alive, and that B, I could still live a relatively normal life, whatever that was going to look like. So I had some forgiveness in that moment of, like, again, to preface the whole accident, like I'm sure both of you, we all, as young men, we think we're invincible. We've all done stupid shit. You're feeding a young ego and you're getting attention right at that age. And for me, I was always labeled in junior hockey as the crazy kid from Revelstoke, just being the fighter. I wasn't a huge guy. I'd fight anyone. And I kind of leaned into that. That's what I thought maybe my identity was. And so with that, I was just always doing stupid shit. And, one thing led to another and, it went wrong and this accident happened. So I definitely had some forgiveness in that, but it wasn't until 2 weeks into my stay that I had this kind of, epiphany or whatever you want to call it, fork in the road moment, when my coach called me and said that, we're kind of getting into the story now, but he called me and said he'd been talking to the coaches from Brown University, right? And actually, I remember his exact words were, the coach from Brown told him, we need a guy to put the fear of God in the defenseman of the Ivy League. And I was pretty good at that, right? So he says, man, I got the perfect guy for you. There's just one major problem here. He's laid up in the burn unit and the future, doesn't look good. And that's really where the journey started. It wasn't so much from the burn injury. It was in the burn unit that I went through this time and this realization of, hey, why do I have to accept, this gavel he's laid down for me? And I think that's a whole other conversation of like the absolutes that doctors sometimes use in hospitals, whether it's the burn unit or someone with a spinal cord injury. There's always these stories of people, defying the quote unquote impossible, but it's all about that belief system and what they're putting into that too. Right. So anyway, that's really where the journey started. And I was unearthed to this whole other realm in terms of, the power of the mind, and the human belief system, really.
Did you have, and that like visualization really became kind of your path. And I do want to get into that. And like, how did you learn? Because for basically Aaron, at that point, he went into where he would visualize what his goal was going to be. And your goal was you would visualize every day, how I'm going to be at Brown University, and literally go through it and like every day repeatedly convincing yourself. And I know there's lots of people out there that will talk about the power of the mind and convince ourselves that we can do stuff, but who gave you even that idea, Aaron? Like, had you always been interested in that sort of thing? Like, how did you even find out, okay, you know what, I'm sitting here in the burn unit, I'm 20 years of age. Up until the day ago, I didn't even know an NCAA team was even interested in me. And now they are. All of a sudden, this light bulb goes off and says, well, you're just going to visualize yourself doing it, and that's going to be your motivation. Like, how'd you come to that point?
Honestly, I had no other option. So when I had this moment and I talked, with the coach from Brown, and again, I was told that I wouldn't be able to go do that. I was still going to be in the burn unit by the time the next season rolled around. Once I had, flipped that script and decided, I'm going to do this or I'm going to die trying. Like, that was literally the promise I made to myself. I accepted that. And listen, like I couldn't have made the burns worse. It was really more, can you deal with this level of discomfort? There was definitely a risk of infection for sure. But I'd cross that bridge when I got there, if I got there.
Well, and I think it's important, Aaron, to point out you're at about May or June right now, lying in the burn unit before the next season. It's not like you had a year and a half. You had no right to even think you could go to Brown, burned or not. And you're lying in the burn unit, wrapped head to toe, going through this debridement, and it's like June. It's 2 months before the season starts.
It was May. Yeah, it was May. So I had 3 months. 2 months when you need to start getting on the ice, and 3 months before camp, right? So yeah, on paper, it wasn't possible for sure. And so when I made this choice and this promise to myself, and Jason, I always kind of frame it, and this was my mindset of like, I set out on a quest for human potential. And like, because you hear of these stories, and I was like, why can't I be one of those people? Like, maybe that's why this happened, And so that's what I did. And I was willing to die in the process. And again, I say that with, technically minimal risk of actually dying. It was like, can you deal with this amount of pain? Right. And so to answer your question, when I made that decision, I was still totally bedridden. I couldn't move. So all I had all day long was the pain and my thoughts, and that's it. Right. So I had heard of visualization, that's it. And so I thought, well, listen, this is all I have. It's better than nothing. And I mean, again, I unearthed a lot of power in that practice, but yeah, to take it even a step further, number one, I knew I needed to heal faster, and I needed to get out of the hospital way sooner than they were telling me if I was going to go and do this.
Okay.
So part of the visualization practice was the healing, right? So even at a cellular level, I would just imagine my head, those burn areas shrinking and healing, and almost breathing energy into those cells to help them repair and heal. I would imagine, walking out of the front doors to the hospital and kind of going on that journey and this comeback of a lifetime, right? And then the opening game that season was part of it as well. And so this is the technique I teach in my business now, which is the cinematic mind mapping. At this time, I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but I was in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So I was almost living this mind movie, right? And what makes a really great movie?
Character development.
Yeah, or comeback story, or long shot, or overcoming adversity.
Loves the underdog, yeah.
And so that's, again, without me fully realizing in that moment, that's what I was doing. And then the ending of that movie was Brown, and that's all I did all day long, because that's all I could. That's all I could do. It was just me laying in bed with my thoughts, and yeah, to say it was a superpower is an understatement. Like, as you know from the book, I was out of there in 6 weeks, which was about a third of the time than they were telling me. And the doctors were dumbfounded. They're like, this isn't supposed to happen. And I mean, not a lot of people know this, that I wasn't supposed to leave at 6 weeks. I remember I got my skin graft surgery done, and like, again, I was living this movie in my head, and I just remember thinking, that, you know, I need to get out of here. Like, this is not conducive to me chasing this dream. And I remember I woke up one morning and I told my dad, and they were there the whole time for those 6 weeks, my mom and dad. And I said, Dad, like, you got to get me the fuck. Can I swear on here?
Not the F-bomb, no.
Okay. I'm like, you got to get me out of here. And he's like, but you can't. You're not allowed. And I was like, well, what are they just going to arrest us if you wheel me out of here in my wheelchair? He's like, okay, listen, I'll go talk to him. And he came back and said they agreed. You can leave. Now I got a big bag of supplies and my physio program, and we were off. And that's when I went, you know, through the summer of, I mean, I call it hell. You know, I was chasing this dream, but it was hell in terms of, you know, the setbacks and what I was putting my body through in that moment. But I had that vision, right?
And your body's broken. Your body's broken down internally, as you described later in the book and over the season. So it wasn't a party once you got back on the ice either.
Oh no, yeah, I was holding on, barely holding on. I'd like to think I would have made it longer than I did. It's tough to say. It's, you know, looking back, but yeah, I eventually signed that commitment letter, and then I stopped because I was, like I said, I was just holding on. And once I had done it, it was tough to turn that switch off. But we had to say collectively as a family, my coaches, myself, and say, this is crazy what you're doing. We need to take time now and let the body heal. And so that's what I did. And that's why I only played 20 whatever games my last year at junior, is because I was still burnt. So
yeah. Aaron Volpatti joins us. Aaron, of course, played in the National Hockey League, suffered second-degree burns to 40% of his body in 2005, and then made his NHL debut in 2010-11 with the Vancouver Canucks after getting to Brown University. Before the burn, he didn't even know that Brown University was interested in him. I found that out while he was sitting in the burn unit. And you talk a lot about, and you use the word gnarly quite often in your book, describing your scars from your burns and stuff. And you know, you talk about invincibility, and in lots of sports and in lots of, you know, guys get together and they're, you know, hey, we're tough, you know, let's see, you know, who can take this or that. But when your teammates saw you kind of that first time, like, was it, you go into the shower in junior hockey after a game, right? And there's something very spiritual, if we want to get into the psychology of, you know, a lot of people are nervous being naked when, and even people when they're in the best shape of their life. Was it hard for you to show all your burns to your teammates the first time?
No, not at all. I wore those as a badge of resilience, honestly, okay, because of where I was. And yeah, so not at all, I guess, is the short answer. I mean,
was it hard for them, do you think? Because I've never, like, you know, not many guys, you're 19, 18. Most of us don't even know how to communicate when we're 18 or 19.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, so they probably see their teammate and they're like, oh my God, he's really burnt. Like, you don't even know what to say. Like, how did you break the ice, or how did they break the ice to kind of just, you know, make it normal? Yeah.
So remember, they were there the night when it happened, right? So I think that was more traumatic for everyone. Myself included, but yeah, like it was not a good scene. You know, people were crying because we didn't know. We knew I was in bad shape. And yeah, I think just people, when reality sunk in, I don't think people knew how to deal with it. So it was more, I think, then than in terms of, you know, being in the locker room and being in the shower. It was like, oh, he didn't die. Like, great. And then it's like, well, there he is. There's the proof. And it was all pretty light. I mean, listen, like, you know, a hockey locker room, it's pretty light. And, you know, you got to have a sense of humor. I think that really helped everyone. And so I actually remember one of my good buddies who I'm still friends with, he made me we used to burn CDs, no pun intended, back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And him and the guys on the team made me a CD, and it was all songs related to burns, right? So it was like, We Didn't Start the Fire, Ring of Fire, all these songs. And he's like, they presented it to me. And anyways, it was honestly more humor, and we just had fun. I had a full bodysuit, so you couldn't see the scars unless I was in the shower. Like that was the only time I took it off. And the scar, I don't know, when you get a scar, it kind of stays like that purple color for a while, right? Well, imagine, not only 40%, but really like 60+%, because where they take the skin graft from, that looks the same because it's essentially a burn. You take the first few layers of skin off to do that, right? So yeah, it looked gnarly, like you said. But yeah, I wore it as a badge of honor, resilience, all these things. And it was also a reminder of, what I was capable of, right? Because I was.
Well, and I think, Aaron, a real important, sorry to interrupt you, but a real important note for people like that young lady who was able to drive you and encourage you to put your arm into what I would assume would be the cooler that the beers were in. And that alone saved it's just an important note for anybody ever ends up in a situation like this. She saved your arm, or you would never have ever played.
100%. Yeah. And so I think it was actually one of the teammates. So she drove me, and then one of the guys handed me this cooler, because that was the first inkling of pain I had, was in my arm and my hand. And with burns, obviously we know, okay, we want to cool them down. I think people were aware of that. But yeah, I had my hands and arms in there the whole way. And the doctor in the burn unit later said that probably saved your right arm and hand, having it in that ice water for 30 minutes or whatever that car ride was, right? Because when I first got there, they were talking about like bone grafts and stuff. The burn was so bad. Like, I have scarring, but you can't, the major scarring's like nipples to knees for me, basically.
Okay.
So it's amazing. Yeah, Rich, what you pointed out, where if there's ever a situation, you got to cool it down as soon as you can, because it keeps burning after the fact.
Does fire bother you?
No, good question. Fire doesn't bother me, but gas, I'm still a little cautious around. Like, if I could hang around a bonfire, but if I see a jerry can in a corner, I'm kind of like, how could that light on fire,
Right.
Well, the reason for that, Aaron, is you maybe explain the reason for that is you were filling bottles full of gasoline and creating these pyrotechnics. And that night you did 2 of them. They banged together, which is what started the whole chain of events, right?
100%. Yeah, I was, again, leaning into that stereotype that I had and being the crazy kid. And we had done it the year prior and everything went fine and no one got hurt. And obviously you're a ticking time bomb playing around with that kind of, amount of gasoline, right, around a fire. And that's what happened. So, yeah.
Aaron, so you originally, your whole movie ended with you getting to Brown. So now you made it to Brown, right? And then all of a sudden, it was one of your assistant coaches, hey, you know what, like there's an A, because when you were at Brown, like you're thinking, hey, I'm going to major, you had a lot of interest in neuroscience and psychology. And that's obviously what you went into. Like, you're a smart guy, you're at Brown University, you're thinking, hey man, I made it here. This is awesome. Now I'm going to get an education. You know what? You came from kind of middle to lower class. So to get to there, and what was a massive accomplishment in itself from education and hockey. But then it's almost like, well, now I got to get to chapter 2 of my life, when a coach says, hey, you know what? There's some teams that think maybe you can play in the American League. And you're like, what? Like, I don't think I'm that good. So, like there's the thing that's unique about this hockey. I've always argued on my show, it's a late developing sport for lots of people, right? You grew a little bit later on. You said, you were 215 pounds when you were a pro, but you were like $180 when you were in junior. So that kind of rewiring your brain. Because for me, I would think like to go sit there in your bed in a burn unit, you got 60% of your body burnt, whether it's the grafts or the actual burn. And you're like, okay, I got to motivate myself. This is my motivation. I'm picturing it. And then when you reach it, a lot of the human nature would be like, well, I can exhale. Like I can reward myself. This is great. Was it easier to start the second movie, or in a way, was it kind of like, oh my God, like I got to go through this all again? Just, obviously not the same type of pain, but a different challenge.
It was easier. Yeah. And so that's the exact reason that I tell people I would have never made the NHL without having gone through that burn injury. Yeah. I know that deep down, there's just no way, because it again, unearthed this whole, power of the human mind and the human spirit and what's actually possible. So, I mean, the mistake I made, which you just said, was going to Brown. And again, you're in your early 20s, and I didn't have the wherewithal to think, hey man, that was pretty cool. Like, if I could do that, what else could I do? I had made it. So I was just having fun in college and, doing my major and just soaking it all in. And also, like, my perspective on life had kind of changed after you go through something like that. It's like, I'm here to have fun, man. Like, yeah. And I did. And I mean, I was smarter, obviously, but, and I worked my ass off. Don't get me wrong. Like in hockey, I won fitness testing. Like I still worked my ass off, but yeah, away from that, it was just being in the present moment and just having fun, not thinking about what I was going to do. I took like pre-med, like you said, and I was like, I'll probably go to medical school, but I'll think about that later. Like that was kind of where my head was at. And so when I had this moment when the assistant coach said that, I went home that day, and that's when I got, the proverbial slap in the face. And it was like, hey, wake up, dummy. What have you been doing these last few years? There might be something over here. And that's why I say with the burn unit, I would have never made it, because it was in that moment that I instantly thought back to that journey from the burn unit. And I thought, if I can do that, I can do anything. Like I could go play in the NHL. That seems a lot easier than what I had done, prior. And it was, honestly, because it was hell. And so I had that in my back pocket, and yeah, and we were off to the races. And that's really when I started developing this technique further into an actual like mind movie, being intentional with it, being a movie in this cinematic way. And it's just another example of how powerful, our minds are, because in 6 months, I went from, no one in the NHL knowing who I was, playing on the fourth line in one of the worst teams in college, right, to, having 8 contract offers after my senior year. And it just happened so quick. And that was the only time in my career that I was actually an offensive player as well. So I had, at the time, the whole package, because I still played my role that I played in pro, which was, mean and hitting guys to hurt guys kind of thing. Right. And it wasn't so much I wanted to hurt guys. It was more, my dream is more important than your health. So get out of the way. That was like where my head was at, and so the pro scouts liked that. And it honestly, it just really happened. It happened quick. And it was almost like I was like living that movie in the present every day, which was really cool. It was such a cool experience. And then obviously going to pro, I mean, Rich and Jason, you guys know this, just because you sign the contract, that's a whole other journey in itself, Yeah. So I had to start in the minors and then fight my way through there. Right. And that's, it's a grind as well. So it was no shortage of ups and downs and entertainment for sure.
And by the time it's over, you've played with the Sedin brothers and Alexander Ovechkin, and went to the finals with the Canucks. Pretty interesting ride for a lot of guys who never get any of those opportunities.
Oh, I was so fortunate to play in two awesome cities with 2 great teams and Hall of Fame players like that. I mean, obviously it ended quicker than I had planned on, but still a great ride, a very special time in my life that I'm very thankful for. So yeah.
Aaron Volpatti Jones. Now, Aaron, you just turned 40 earlier this year. And, when I think of all the stuff you've been through, I got it. As you mentioned earlier, like, man, I think I'm capable of anything, but I kind of want to dig in deeper into the power of the mind for you, the visualization. And obviously it's something that interests you, right? Like, neuroscience and psychology, that's something that, naturally you were interested in anyway. So maybe you just were, no doesn't seem to be in your vocabulary. It's more about, hey, what's possible here? How can the average person change their mindset the way, you did to allow us to maybe do more than we think we're capable of? And in a lot of cases, do more than others think we're capable of.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think first of all, it's identify what is the dream. And so in saying that, our ceilings are a lot higher than we give ourselves credit for. Do we each have respective ceilings? I think sure we can agree on that, but it's individually it's higher than we give ourselves credit for, right? So in knowing that, it's like I said, identifying it, and the beauty of up here in the mind with the visualization practice and this technique, there are no limitations. So it gets to be whatever you want it to be. And again, there's a lot of power in that. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize is when you can do this practice effectively, so whatever the dream is, you know, and we can talk about the other type of visualization, which is rehearsal imagery, which is like executing a skill mentally. That's a different conversation around like performance, right? And that's more like day to day. But when we talk about, okay, what's the dream? And if I visualize that effectively, why does that work? And the answer is because if our brain doesn't know the difference between physically and mentally experiencing something, which is a fact, right? If done effectively, then if I'm thinking of a future version of myself, well, that's what manifestation is. You've almost in a way tricked your brain into thinking that a future version of yourself has already happened. So you start to become that person every day, and then your energy starts to change. And that's where you start building that belief system, right? From day to day. So I think that's the first step, like I said, is okay, identify
Aaron, Tony Robbins always used the example, like you just went through. He would say, well, you do have a ceiling. And he used to use the example. For example, if you're 5'4", you're not playing in the NBA. And then Bogues or Spud Webb, I forget which one was 5'4", won the slam dunk contest. So Tony had to reevaluate even his limits. They're not there. It's like Henry Ford used to say, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't.
Yeah. It's so true. So not only from a manifestation and like I call it belief imagery, but so here's an example on the rehearsal imagery side. Like I have a lot of clients that I work with, say they're hockey players, and they tell me like, I want to play bigger. Maybe they're smaller guys, right? Well, when we go through that rehearsal imagery, we imagine they're 10 feet tall because there's no limitations up there, right? And now they're certainly not going to physically grow that tall, but guess what? Their brain thinks that that's real. So that starts to spill over into their performance on the ice, right?
How often do you do rehearsal imagery?
Every day. I do the whole practice every day.
And for how long?
I mean, the whole mind movie, I generally say if you can have a 10-minute practice around that, that's great. If there's no maximum, if you want to go for 20 minutes, great. So in my programs, we put a soundtrack to it because music is really powerful. You think about any movie, is there a soundtrack? Generally, yeah. And if you remove that, does it feel different? Yeah, it would, right?
Yeah.
So that actually helps guide the visualization in a way too. Not only does it, help emotionally and pull you in deeper into that practice, but yeah, it helps guide it along. So kind of, 10 minutes is the ballpark. But that's another thing too, is that I didn't mention is when I say visualize it effectively, because simply thinking about something and we're told to think positive. Well,
what does that mean?
It's not quite good enough. Like that, it's a little bit of fluff, right? And so when this practice is done effectively and you trick your brain into thinking that it's actually happened, we need to evoke emotion in that experience. And that's what we're doing is we're having an experience, right? Like we all have memories because we had emotion tied to that experience, right? So the same is true with this. As soon as we can start to evoke that kind of goosebump feeling and you get kind of lost in that a little bit, that's where the magic starts to happen. And that's where we can actually rewire the brain. And we talk about the belief system, right? And actually wiring your brain for success. That's where the magic starts to happen.
So
Well,
Aaron,
and Kobe used to listen to Friday the 13th. You're probably familiar before, and Kobe's very famous for the switch that flipped once he got to the arena, and became the Mamba, right? Became the Mamba mentality, and he found the music to be I've never really thought about what you just described, but it's amazing. I love music, and I just never really thought of tying my visualization to music because it's instant emotion. Instant.
It pulls you in, right? 100%. Yeah.
Now, Aaron, do you have a website?
Yep. Yeah, it's just my name, aaronvolpatti.com.
Aaron Volpatti, that's VOLPATTI, aaronvolpatti.com for anybody who's interested in this. But I highly, highly recommend the book. It's called Fighter Define the NHL Odds. And yeah, it's a story about making it to the NHL, but it's a story about much, much more. It's kind of funny enough, but like making the NHL is just like kind of one part of the story. And no offense to being in the NHL, but I don't even think it's like the main plot line of the story.
There's so much in it, JC. You're right. There's so much in it, from growing up in a trailer park and dealing with some of those issues, and the incredible example your parents were and how important that was in the way they had conducted themselves, which a few hockey parents could probably pay a little attention to now. It's an amazing story in 360 degrees.
Yeah. Congratulations
guys.
On the book, Aaron. Congratulations on just a very inspiring story. I'll say this to anybody: you read the book, there's no chance you won't be inspired. I absolutely loved it. I'm a big book reader, and I like Rich said earlier, I couldn't put it down. So we'll have to get you back on again because there's much more I'd like to talk about. And once again, for people who are interested to reach your potential in lots of different ways. I think most of us haven't done it. Aaron's figured out a way to do it, and he's going to help others try to reach their potential, which is fantastic. So, Aaron, great stuff, man. Congratulations. We'll talk to you again soon. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me. Good to see you, Rich. We'll chat soon. Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Aaron Volpatti. The book is called Fighter Define the NHL. I'm telling you, people, you read that book. And if you have somebody in your life right now who's going through a tough time, read the book. It is, when I read the book, I almost was kind of embarrassed. I'm like, I didn't know any of this. And he played in the NHL. And he played when I've been covering the NHL. I knew none of it. It was.
I did not. I remember I had to go to you a little bit to take a look at the book because I think you were thinking, well, how big a story could this be?
Yeah. No, it was.
You hadn't heard about it. I hadn't heard about it.
Oh, I never heard about it. And it was awesome. And because it's much, you don't have to be an NHL fan. Like the NHL part is, okay, made the NHL. That's great. But it's so much more than that.
Lost you guys.
It's awesome. So, Rich, thanks for this, buddy. We'll let you get back on the road. Drive safe. And we will chat with you next Wednesday.
Is this when I do? Okay, the snakes, you guys. I gotta go.
Yeah. The snakes are all over you. Get out.
We're gonna have to do a round the NHL tour with me. I mean, I can't believe it's so much fun. I mean, you forget how much fun life is. Being with a couple of young brothers who were playing a dream last night, being on with Aaron today, and watching a bunch of young men and women playing in a park over here it's just it's really interesting what we do, but more interesting is what guys like Aaron have done to turn his life into something very, very special.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Great stuff, man. Really appreciate it, Rich. Talk again next week. That is
from Mojave Desert. Over and out.
Desert. Woo, geez, it'll be a little hot there for sure. We will take a break. We'll come back. We got the pregame show, myself and the Con Man running that coming up after Connor Halley, and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca Quality Markets. Loca gourmet meals made fresh, never boring, always chef inspired. 2 locations, Sherwood Park and Edmonton. Loca.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Game day Oilers in Washington taking on the Capitals. Puck drop just after 5. Our pregame coverage here on Sports 1440 coming up next. Later on tonight, Sabres host the Flames, Hurricanes in Minnesota, and the Ducks taking on the Bruins. In the WHL, Oil Kings in Kelowna. Puck drop at 8. In the association, you got 9 games tonight, including the Toronto Raptors in Philly taking on the Sixers. Also, Mavs host the Knicks, Bulls in Portland. Thunder host the Kings, and the Wizards taking on the Timberwolves. In the AJ, 1 game, Devin up against Camrose at 7. And from the CFL, the Edmonton Elks making some moves, extending defensive back Cordell Jackson and defensive lineman Noah Curtis. Up next here on Sports 1440, we've got pregame coverage with Jason Gregor, former NHLer Landon Ferraro, and myself. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact
Just after 3 o'clock.
Custom Floors Inc.
Play Alberta.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready? I'm not just here to make a thermo a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep, unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
More fruit?
Check.
Satisfying texture?
Check.
3 amazing new recipes?
Check, check, check.
Let Booster Juice bowl you over with something completely different. 3 new acai bowls, loaded with delicious toppings including bee pollen, cacao nibs, and shredded coconut. Piled high on top of a refreshing blend of authentic acai, straight from Brazil.
Spoon?
Check.
Booster Juice, Canada's original juice and acai bowl bar.
5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best junior hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Aloha Edmonton, it's back. Century Vision Care's 4th annual Maui Christmas event on Friday, December 12th from 9 to 5. Century Vision Care, Edmonton's biggest Maui gym retailer, is bringing the island spirit to your holiday shopping. Enjoy in-house savings on all prescription and non-prescription Maui gyms, plus giveaways, prizes, snacks, and beverages all day. Same-day eye exam appointments are available, and they direct bill most insurance plans, but spots are filling fast. Get ahead on your Christmas list and treat yourself to a new pair of Maui gyms. Visit Century Vision Care on Instagram.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
This is the Jason Gregor Show
on Sports 1440. Favorite us right now.
Powered by PlayAlberta.ca. If you gamble, use your game sense. Learn more at gamesense.ab.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, from weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
It's the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Edmonton's only 24/7 sports station, Sports 1440.
Once again, big thanks to Aaron Volpati. That's an amazing story. And welcome to the Titan Supply pregame show, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca. I'm Jason Gregor. He's Connor Halley. We're filling in for walks today as the Oilers and the Washington Capitals set to go at it tonight. If you missed it, the Edmonton Oilers will be going 11 forwards and 7 defensemen because Noah Philp, Curtis Lazar are both out with injuries, and they're not going to play tonight, tomorrow, or Saturday. So the Oilers, that's their only option. They don't have any cap space. For those wondering why they can't recall someone, they don't have the cap space. You got Kapanen on LTIR, but with Nugent Hopkins, he's on the roster, but he's on IR. Don't have any cap room. And, you could send Tomasic down. He doesn't require waivers, but then you call up someone, you're still only 11-7. Doesn't really help you. So the only way they could get in another player would be if they got an injury. Then let's say they get an injury tonight to a player. Then they have to play 17 skaters in Tampa. Then they could recall someone to the Florida game. That's just how it works in the CBA. If you can't ice the lineup, you have to play one player short for a game. So obviously the Oilers hoping they don't have any more injury. None of the injuries are that serious. Philp, Lazar, Nugent Hopkins, none of them are LTIR worthy. So you can't do it. So there seems to be a lot of injuries all around the NHL. You look at teams, Toronto had 6 guys out the other game. It's wild. So lots of teams, Montreal's got 4 guys out, and lots of teams have had multiple players out at different times. And so the Oilers are running through their own injury woes right now. And you know what? They'll have to play better than they did in Buffalo if they want to get a win. The Washington Capitals come in. The Capitals, low event hockey. They don't give up a lot of goals. They don't score a lot of goals. They are only the Flames and Rangers have had fewer combined goals per game than the 5.26 goals that the Capitals have had. The Capitals are third best in the NHL in goals against, 2.47 per game. And when Logan Thompson's in goal, he's played 13 games. He has a 1.85 goals against average, which of course is the best in the National Hockey League. He also has the best save percentage in the NHL at 925. He's been remarkable for them, been phenomenal. Their team defense has been okay, but he has been great. So the Oilers offense, which obviously has sputtered for lots of games this year, they're going to be hard pressed to get going offensively. We'll see. Now, if you're looking for a positive, Oilers fans, as Thompson has started 13 games, only 2 has he allowed more than 2 goals, but both of them have come in his last 4 starts. So maybe, just maybe, there's a window of opportunity there for the Oilers. We'll have to see or not. Also, it's we'll get to the over under. I know it's in the pregame show. Everybody likes to go. We'll come up with that coming up in about 10 minutes time for you to have an idea on what you're going to go over or under. The Oilers have also the lines for tonight. Now they're going to go 11-7, but to start the game, it's going to be McDavid centering, Hyman and Roslovic and Savoy. You've got Hyman playing on a line with Frederick and Adam Henrique. So they've spread it out a little bit to see if they can maybe get a little bit more edge from Frederick. Mangiapane's going to play with Draisaitl and Podkolzin, Savoy with McDavid and Roslovic. I'm kind of surprised that they split up Draisaitl and Roslovic and Podkolzin. They had great chemistry there. But they'll put McDavid with Roslovic. I'm sure they'll be fine. Roslovic has played great, right? But I think that this is a little sign of, hey, maybe if we put Hyman on our third line, we can get a pulse from our third line. Because really, they've had no pulse from the third line in the month of November. October, it was okay. You had actually pretty decent production from them. But the month of October has been brutal for both the third and the fourth line. A whole lot of goose eggs across the board there. So they'll try to get some extra. David Tomasic, he'll draw back in. Him and Janmark will be the 10th and the 11th forward. So obviously somebody will rotate in on that line. Don't be surprised to see a guy like Jack Roslovic, I think, get down there, Connor Halley, and get some time on that line. McDavid and Draisaitl play a ton of minutes. And it's a back-to-back situation. I don't think you can see those guys at 24. I think it's going to be the Podkolzins, Hyman, Savoy, Roslovic, those guys, Podkolzin maybe, double shifting a bit. And seeing more guys probably around the 17-minute mark rather than McDavid and Draisaitl up at the 26-minute mark.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And I mean, what an opportunity for some of these guys to get it going. And we've heard about in the past where when you play McDavid and Draisaitl together, that can take away minutes from other players. This is an opportunity for a lot of guys to really get going here and get that opportunity with a few more extra minutes. So I'm very intrigued to see how it works out here. I love seeing that top line of Roslovic being kind of rewarded and getting to play with Connor McDavid on the top unit. We know Zach Hyman, when he's in that third line, we saw in the playoffs, he's flying around throwing hits, right? So I guess I kind of like what they're doing with the lineup here. We'll see how long it stays, though.
Yeah. Why don't we get to the lineups now?
Lineups for Nisku Ford all this month and get rates as low as 0% or choose rebates as high as $10,000. Details at niskuford.ca. Do you have them or you want me to run through?
Yeah. Well, we did the orders. The Capitals have Strome centering McMichael and Ovechkin. Ovechkin has 3 goals in his last 4 games. Then you got Justin Sourdif, who they acquired from Florida, between 2 huge guys, Protas and Wilson. That's a big, heavy line for the Capitals. Protas not off to the start. He hasn't been able to find his game where he had it last year, where he's a dominant player. They're hoping that happens. Dowd with Leonard and Beauvillier. Lapierre with Frank and Duhaime. And then they got Ferravi on the back end with Carlson. Ferravi, excuse me. Chicker and Roy. And then Sandin and Van Riemsdyk. And, of course, in goal, the red-hot Logan Thompson. So the matchups, we had Walton on earlier, and he thinks Nick Dowd is going to be one of the lines getting a fair amount of ice time against McDavid or Draisaitl, and I'm assuming it's Strome the other line. Now, it's funny, Justin Sourdif's the young center iceman, but you got Wilson and Protas as the wingers. I got to think that they're going to see some time, especially against, maybe Draisaitl and Podkolzin, a bit heavier line. Yeah, sure, Sourdif can't himself go head-to-head against McDavid or Draisaitl, but with those wingers, I think they'd be able to at least take a few shifts against them at some point. The Oilers are going to need like Hyman and Fred, like maybe Hyman's tenacity. They're hoping it kind of jumpstarts Trent Frederic. I got to think that's the goal by putting Hyman there. Obviously, it's going to maybe bring some offense, but they need more shots on goal from Henrique and Frederic and Mangiapane and Janmark, Tomasic. Those bottom 6 guys, they're not shooting the puck. They had 73 shots in the month of October in 12 games. They've combined for 35 and no goals through 9 games. So 73 to 12, and they had 10 goals. And now you got 35 shots and no goals. You don't have to be a mathematician to figure out they're not getting enough pucks on net. Get bodies in front, drive the net, crash the net. And Hyman is a high energy guy. And they're hoping maybe that, that can rub off on Frederic, because Frederic's got to play better. He's capable of it. Like, Frederic is not playing well. It doesn't mean he's this bad. He's shown he's a better player. But right now, he is not playing very well at all. And they're going to need him. And you got to go back to basics. If you're Trent Frederic, you need to go back to basics and find out just how well he can play. So let's get to over-under. I know it's one of your favorite games, brought to you by River Cree Resort and Casino. Catch all your favorite sports, including UFC and boxing, live on big screens at Tap 25 and in the center bar. Visit rivercreeresort.com. So, because we're going to go with a little time on ice tonight, the Oilers have 11 forwards and they have 7 defensemen in the lineup. So, our over-under, not going to involve the big guys, but I'm going to go with Andrew Mangiapane. Actually, no, Vasily Podkolzin. Vasily Podkolzin is averaging 15:01. So I'm going to set the line at 15:50. Total ice time, Vasily Podkolzin. Over or under? 15 minutes, 50 seconds tonight for Vasily Podkolzin. Over or under. And of course, you can win $100 River Creek gift card, redeem it with the hotel, restaurants, or the gift shop if you want in on that. So there you go. Pretty simple. Over or under. Remember, it's 11 Fords tonight. Now, I could give you a hint, but I don't want to. We can't do that, Cons. But the Oilers have played 11-7 a few times. We'll come back. Landon Ferraro will join us here in the Titan Supply pregame show on Sports 14.
He's heading into the driveway. Temperature's dropping fast, folks. He opens the hood and, oh no, the battery's on thin ice.
Yeah, that's a tough break, Tim. I mean, you can't expect to compete and win with weak parts in your game like that.
But wait, he's made a clutch move. He's gone to Napa Auto Parts for the win. They've got batteries, winter-grade oils, antifreeze, and wiper blades built for cold Alberta conditions.
That's a championship play, Tim.
With over 85 Alberta locations, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Winter in Alberta doesn't mess around.
And neither does Titan Supply.
For over 50 years, we've earned the trust of our customers across a variety of industries.
Because we lead with integrity,
honesty,
and respect.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Brent from Titan Supply. When the weather hits hard,
we're fully stocked with rigging, lifting, and hauling gear that works as hard as you do.
Titan Supply.
Built on trust, driven by safety.
Serving Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary.
Let us help you face the weather the Titan way.
Visit TitanSupply.ca.
The days are getting shorter, temperatures dropping. Time to take a good look at your furnace. Here's Dennis from Weiss Johnson with some pre-winter words of wisdom.
Don't wait. Get your furnace inspected sooner than later. Nothing worse than furnace issues when it's suddenly 40 below, right?
Absolutely.
And if it's time for a replacement, we offer the full line of energy-efficient Goodman furnaces. Your family will love the comfort, and you'll appreciate lower heating bills thanks to Goodman.
Weiss Johnson, your Goodman furnace experts for sales and installations. Visit Weiss-Johnson.com.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all sevens. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Oodle Noodle origin.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
Pre-matchups are brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. For all your automotive needs, go to your trusted experts in high-quality parts, tools, equipment, and more. That's Napa know-how.
From the locker room to your radio, Sports 1440 is Edmonton's sports leader. Real talk, big personalities, and your texts. It's interactive. It's fun. It's where Edmonton talks sports. Sports 1440.
For one day only, Friday, November 21st, The Brick is releasing Black Friday deals early. Get a sneak peek at the hottest offers on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Save 65% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair, up to 50% off mattresses, and up to $1,000 off when you buy 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, they pay the GST. Check out more one-day only deals and additional offers in-store. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Oilers pregame is brought to you by Titan Supply. Built on trust, driven by safety. The Titan way. Visit TitanSupply.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian and 69-cent wings, and play score and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
Sports 1440 and the pregame show with Andrew Walker. We are Edmonton's sports leader.
We continue on, of course, the pregame show inside the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. But the pregame show, of course, Oilers on the road in Washington. The pregame show brought to you by Titan Supply. Skinner versus Thompson. Oilers got some more injuries. Lazar and Philp are out. They will go 11-7 tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday because they don't have any option. They have no cap space. They got no Nugent Hopkins and Kapanen aren't ready yet to come back. So that's the situation that the Oilers are in for the next few games. And hey, it means likely some guys in that number 4-5 forward spot to number 9-10 shall get a few more minutes. I'll be curious to see what they do on the blue line because they have Nurse with Bouchard at the morning skate. Brett Kulak moved over to the right side. He'll play with Ekholm. See if maybe that settles him down. Kulak's in a tough stretch where he's been outscored 12-0, 5-on-5 in the month of November. Ouch. You'll have Wallman with Regula, and then Ty Emberson is the extra defenseman tonight. Let's get to our expert analysis brought to you by Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock, the used parts experts with province-wide shipping and daily delivery to Edmonton. Visit edsautosalvage.com. Former NHLer Landon Ferraro joins us. Landon, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I'm much better than the Oilers' defensive game. So I have to ask you, when I look at, when Chris Knobloch came in, the biggest change was like the Oilers were a top 10 defensive team his first year. They even last year where their rush chances went up a little bit, they still finished at the end of the season a top 10 defensive team. And this year they're like bottom 10 defensive team. How much do you think they can miss Paul Coffey, who wasn't a video coach? He didn't show video to the guys. He was more of a communicator, was somebody who wasn't afraid to kind of maybe be old school on some guys, but it seemed to work. And maybe it's just a coincidence, but how much do you think they miss Coffey?
I mean, as much as it can be a coincidence, I think that they do miss him. I think that having someone that obviously not only played but was elite when he was playing, having him back there, he's been through everything. Like his word carries so much. So, like you said, like he didn't have to show video. Like he can talk, and when he would get on guys, it's like there's sometimes coaches that haven't been players at the top level. They'll say some things sometimes, and you're just like, yeah, okay, like I could try harder, sure, but like I can't just make plays happen out of nothing. And when Coffey would do it, like he's been in that position, so it carries a lot of weight. And I think the biggest thing is just how he would keep guys accountable. They have some D back there that obviously love to get on the offensive side of the puck, and even on the more defensive things like a Nurse or a Kulak, like when they stray from their game a bit, he could nip that pretty quick and kind of get things back in order again.
Yeah, I think there's something to it. I don't know how much though. Like I look at the Oilers and I ran down their numbers, and they just like their puck management is horrific right now. Right. Yeah. It's just not good. Like you look at some of the guys and the amount of turnovers they've had, and turnovers to me aren't necessarily systemic, right? Like I know I don't love the stretch pass that they do all the time, but when I see defensive zone turnovers, those aren't coming just from, guys in the, for stretch passes. Like I look at Ekholm. Ekholm's been on the ice for 20 goals against. He's on pace to be, and this is at 5-on-5. He's on pace for 78, which would crush his career high of 61. And he already has 17 defensive turnovers and is on pace for 66. His career high 9 years ago was 53. right? Brett Kulak being outscored 12-0 this month. Leon Draisaitl has 11 defensive zone turnovers. He's on pace for 50. He's only had more than 30 once in his career, right? McDavid's expected goals against per 60 is the highest it's been since 2019. Like there's a lot of their best guys just not playing well in their own zone.
And, I'll start off by asking this, like, how many games this year have finished and one of the first things you think of is just like lack of intensity, right? And when there's a lack of intensity, you're not as dialed in. You end up making some softer plays sometimes. Like, the NHL is a very good league, and if you're not at the top of your game, like, you get exposed fast. And if you're not, something as little as you receive a puck, say you're the winger in the defensive zone, you receive the puck and you don't move your feet and you try and look for that next pass. Just by getting the puck and taking one step, like, you're already more engaged and like the pass is on more often. So it's just getting your feet moving, being a bit more engaged and not worrying about the offensive side so much about, okay, what are we going to do when we get into the offensive zone? Like, let's just get up out of our end through the neutral zone as clean as possible first, and then let the rest take over.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned, I teach it with my young players. I said, you guys are thinking offense, and we're not even out of the defensive zone yet. Right? Like, that's, once you start doing that, that's when you're in trouble. You got to get out of the zone first. Once you cross the blue line, hey, turn on to your creative offensive mind. But
go have fun then.
Yes,
the work's before though.
Yeah, get lower, be smarter, and away you go. They've changed the defense pairs. Nurse going to play with Bouchard. I know they got 7, so who knows like what they'll do, how many minutes Emerson will play. I don't know. Him and Regula might just switch in with Wallman. You got Kulak. Now, Kulak's been struggling, and they're going to move him to the right side. What do you make of that decision?
Honestly, like, for him, he did it last year and he moved back and forth, pretty well. For a guy that is struggling like he is right now, this might be something that is good for him, something completely different. As much as it's still the same thing, like, switching sides is a big ask of defensemen. And, going back to that, like, intensity and making sure you're ready for the game, well, him switching sides, guaranteed he's going to be a little bit more dialed in. And early, I imagine him, making, the quick, simple play early and just trying to get himself into the game that way. As much as, or as far as the, the rest of the switching of the defense pairs, I mean, just kind of like I just said for Kulak, like, all of it, like, it needs a bit of a reset. It needs a fresh look. It just hasn't been tight enough back there. So, moving things around, it gets guys, kind of realizing, on top of them already knowing what's going on, but like kind of realizing like things aren't good. We're trying anything to find what that right pair is going to be. Like, we all as a group need to be better.
Yeah, 100%. The Zach Hyman is going to play on a line tonight, at least some of his shifts anyway, with Henrique and Frederick. I think it's clear that they need Trent Frederick to get engaged in battles more, Landon, to put it politely. At bare minimum, you know what? Hey, obviously you want him to score. He's paid to score a little bit. He has scored 17, 18 goals. Like, he should be more than a 4-goal pace, which is what he's on right now. But I remember Milan Lucic telling me how, the thing he loved about playing with Marchand was, man, he goes, like, you're not into every game. He goes, guys tell you that, they're lying. It's hard to be up for every game. And he said, especially, to play big and physical. And he said, would there be some games where, you're kind of like, geez, I'm not really feeling it. And then Marchand would get into a scrum or start beaking someone. And suddenly you're like, your big brother mentality comes in and boom, you're in the game. Could Hyman drag Frederick in the game, do you think? Do you believe in that?
Yeah, I mean, I believe in it. Like, I've felt that too. And sometimes, like, you're going through a bit of a hard stretch and you get paired with more of that energy type guy that's going to go in and be physical. And before you know it, like, it is that pack mentality. You're going out there and say you're the first guy in the forecheck and you kind of do a bit of a flyby, and the next it goes across and the line mate that's, Hyman in this case, goes in and finishes hard, and then he does it again the next forecheck in. Before you know it, you're like, it's kind of embarrassing that I'm not going to do this. Like we can get all over them here, so they can pull in that way, But at the end of the day, like it's got to come from Frederick. He can get some help, and hopefully playing some shifts with Hyman kind of get his intensity up that little bit more. As good as that fight was, and all the credit to him against Olivier, at the same time, yeah, we take a couple fights, but being consistently physical on the forecheck and getting in those scrums and being engaged that way is so much more important right now. Honestly, like a fight every once in a while is almost the easy way out, because you can psych yourself up for 10 seconds. And yeah, you got to eat some punches, but at the same time, like it's over pretty fast. Like the consistently being hard and finishing on top and like really kind of creating some havoc on a forecheck, like that's really hard to do consistently. And that's got to come from within Frederick at this point for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I get maybe where he was thinking, okay, I got to do something. So, he grabbed Olivier, but I'm just like, dude, go out and hit somebody, get in scrums, and don't grab the toughest guy in the league. That's never good. Taking a few punches. Yeah, it shows courage, but I don't think it shows smarts. So,
honestly, I think the more impressive thing really, and again, like not taking it away, like, to stand in with Olivier, that takes guts.
It takes guts. Sure. Yeah, no question.
But like you said, like go finish checks, go be a pest, and force someone to come fight you.
Yes.
And see if you can drag in an extra penalty out of it or something, and put a very deadly power play. Give them another opportunity. Like that's where the true value comes from.
Yeah. So we'll see if that happens for him tonight. Roslovich will play with McDavid on a line in Matt Savoy, and then they'll have Mangiapane with Draisaitl and Podkolzin, which I think we all know the lines. When you got 11 forwards, we're going to see lots of different combinations tonight. They are playing back-to-back. I don't think it's wise. You can't play McDavid 25, 26 minutes when you're playing back-to-back tomorrow, and then again on 3 games and 4 nights in Florida. I know the guys are in great shape, but they just need some other guys here to get going. The Oilers have only had 7 power plays in their last 5 games, Len. They are to me,
a conversation every year.
Yeah, but it's this is the lowest it's ever been. And when I watch the Oilers, it's not because the refs are screwing them over. There's lots of games where I'm like, they're never putting the opposition on their heels to have to defend in a position that might lead to them taking a penalty.
And I think this goes back to a conversation that we've had, basically every time that we've got to do pregame together, is about getting to the inside. Like they love being on the outside in the offensive zone and so, like doing the big circle kind of around the whole zone and trying to find those lanes all the way through. Like they don't often put themselves in positions of where they're getting in that one-on-one battle and forcing a guy to make a decision. Like you brought up Marchand a bit before.
Yeah.
Watching the Vancouver-Florida game the other night, he draws a tripping penalty. Like he takes a guy on one-on-one, he does a spin move, and the guy's got to stick his leg out. I think it was Sasson has to stick his leg out because he's completely beat. Like you have to put yourself in positions to make the defense uncomfortable to where they're going to get their stick in there because you've beat them to the inside, or their stick's going to get caught up in your feet, something like that. Again, though, like you have to work to draw penalties, and not to say they're not working, but at the same time, they can work to the inside and most likely draw more penalties for sure.
Yeah. And it's just, to me, it's the lack of power plays is the easiest way to say the Oilers are not hard to play against right now. And hard to play against isn't always being tough. It can be fast. It can be going to the net. It can be forcing the defense. Because I just watch them in the offensive zone now, Landon. And, you're an offensive player. Like, I look at the Oilers attacking the offensive zone, and they continue to want to live on the outside. Pass outside. And then eventually, after 30 seconds, it goes back to the blue line and way. But the other teams have figured them out because they realize, hey, you know what? If you give the Oilers the reverse cycle behind the net, they'll take it all day rather than try to drive to the net.
Yeah, and and it's easy to play against, and that's a crazy thing to say when you're talking about a team that has two of the best players in the world. But if you're just letting them and they want to stay on the outside, you sit on the middle, you're burning no energy. You can stand in there for forever, really. But as soon as you drive the middle, and that's when the Oilers are good, it's, much like when the power play was just incredible a couple of years ago, like there were people all over the zone, and the defense were constantly having to figure out who has who because there's switches all over the place. Like they were putting teams' brains in a blender at that point, and they need to get back to that a bit, where to be hard to play against for the Oilers is making people defend with their feet, making people defend with their mind as they're trying to keep up to where the next play is going to go, because they do have some unbelievable skill that can really make a play look like it's going one direction and then it switches really quick. And then you're causing people to have to, kind of ad-lib on their own and figure it out that way. And you'll find breakdowns, but they're not doing that as of yet.
No, not at all. The Capitals, they don't score a lot right now, but man, they don't give up a ton. Their goalie's excellent. When you're going up against a red hot goalie, Landon, what's the best way to get to him?
As much as it's just a repeat on the record here, it's getting to the inside. It's getting in front of his eyes, trying to make sure that every time there's a puck that's coming in, he's got to fight for it. As much as, goalie's a very physical position, you're constantly going up and down and you're sitting in your crouch all the time. When you see the goalie having to use his glove hand to start kind of pushing on the back of players to give himself some more space, and then trying to fight to see it around the left or right side, or getting him more up on his toes to look over, like you're causing him to use so much more energy consistently, and then you're going to find some holes in there. But again, it's, as much as I'm repeating myself, it's about getting to the inside and really forcing the night to be hard on them.
Well, this just coming down, Nick Dowd not on the ice. They were hoping Nick Dowd with Dubois out would be like he's a really good defensive center iceman. And if he's out, my goodness, if there was ever a time for the Oilers to maybe generate some more offensive zone time with two of Washington's best defensive centers out of the game, might be tonight. Thanks, Landon. You'll be back for the post-game show with Walker and Paulson right after puck or final whistle tonight. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good one.
There you go. That's Landon Ferraro joins us on pre and post-game show here in the Titan Supply pre-game show. It's Jason Gregor, Connor Halley filling in for Walker and Paulson. Once again, our over-under for River Cree is time on ice, Vasily Podkolzin. 15 minutes and 50 seconds. Remember, the Oilers are going 11-7, 15-50. Over or under Podkolzin ice time tonight. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Where you can text us, Cons?
The Weiss Johnson text line, 1-833-401-1440. Edmonton's go-to for all your heating, air conditioning, and hot water tank needs. Visit weiss-johnson.com.
We'll come back. We're going to hear from Chris Knobloch, some line juggling for the Edmonton Oilers, some injuries for the Edmonton Oilers, and more in the Titan Supply pregame show here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca.
Oilers pregame is brought to you by Titan Supply. Built on trust, driven by safety. The Titan way. Visit titansupply.ca.
Touch base on the Weiss Johnson text line, 1-833-401-1440. Keep your home warmer and energy costs down with a Goodman furnace installed by the pros from Weiss Johnson. Visit weiss-johnson.com for your new Goodman furnace.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts, and play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocks.yeg.com.
Wing Wednesday at First Round. Whether you're coming for the first round, the last round, or a few rounds in between, they've got you covered with half-price wings every Wednesday night. Half-price wings. Over 35 delicious flavors like Cajun salt and pepper, maple bacon, and Inferno wings. Now half price every Wednesday night. Wash them down with a cold pint of Canadian or Coors Light for only $5.75. Half price Wing Wednesdays at First Round in West Ed and now downtown. First Round, burgers, beer, sports.
This Black Friday, unlock incredible savings with Quello Concerts. Get 50% off our yearly and 2-year plans and enjoy unlimited access to the world's best concerts and music documentaries. Stream legendary performances anytime, anywhere for as low as $44.99 a year. It's the perfect gift for anyone who loves music. Visit stingray.com/deal and start streaming the world's best shows today.
Touch base on the Weiss Johnson text line, 1-833-401-1440. Keep your home warmer and energy costs down with a Goodman furnace installed by the pros from Weiss Johnson. Visit weiss-johnson.com for your new Goodman furnace.
Oilers pregame is brought to you by Titan Supply. Built on trust, driven by safety. The Titan way. Visit titansupply.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth W football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast, elksnation.ca.
It's the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Edmonton's only 24/7 sports station, Sports 1440.
Titan Supply pregame show continues inside here, the Gregor Show on Sports 1440. How you doing? Oilers in Washington. Nick Dowd, there's a late lineup change. He is out. So let's get to the injury report brought to you by Dr. Vance Elliott, world leader in hair restoration. Visit drvanceelliott.com for a free consultation. Today, the injury report. So no Nick Dowd, no Dubois for Washington. So that is 2 of their key centers. Now Dubois is out obviously long term. He's not going to be back probably until the Olympic break. So that's some line juggling for the Capitals. So Beauvillier now moves up to the right wing with Strome and Ovechkin, sort of stays with Wilson and Protas. Connor McMichael is going to play center tonight now with Duhaime and Leonard. And then you got Lapierre, Sonny Milano, and Ethan Frank on the fourth line. Carlson, Vervey, Jacob Chikrin, Matt Roy, Van Riemsdyk, and Sandin, of course, Thompson in goal. Meanwhile, the Oilers, their walking wounded continues to grow. Noah Philp, Curtis Lazar are both out tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. Minimum 3 games, so they're not playing the rest of the road trip. The Oilers will have to dress 7 defensemen. Tomasic will come in up front. Emberson will come in. They only have 18 skaters, 11 forwards, 7 defensemen. They don't have any cap space, so they can't call up anybody. So that's what they'll do. They're hoping, Nugent Hopkins, Kapanen might be ready by Tuesday next week when they play against the Dallas Stars, or maybe one of Philp or Curtis Lazar. I had a brain fart there for a second. Almost said, I was like, no, it's not Lazar. It's not Kazar. It's Lazar. So there's the injury report for both teams tonight as the Oilers and the Capitals set to go. And now let's get in the room and hear from Chris Knobloch. The coach interview brought to you by Vision Credit Union, investing 100% in Alberta and giving back to the communities they serve. VisionToYou.ca. And Knobloch talked about the new defensive pairs, which have Nurse and Bouchard, Ekholm and Kulak, Wallman and Regula, and Emberson is the number 7.
Yeah, the D pairs for Morning Skate are going to be a lot different than in the game just because we've got 7 defensemen. So there's going to be a lot of rotation there. We'll expect Kulak to play some left and right side, probably Wallman too. But now that we're in a situation where we have to go 11-7, probably for the next 3 or maybe 4 games, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so there you go. Also, Roslovic will play with McDavid tonight, and they're going to move Mangiapane with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. Why split up the Roslovic, Draisaitl, Podkolzin line?
Well, now that we're down to 11 forwards, felt that we'd spread out the scoring with, with our 3 lines, Hyman playing with Henrique. Obviously, they haven't played together this year, but there was some chemistry last year between those two. So hopefully they can rekindle that and give us 3 strong lines.
Well, hey, yeah, their third line's been a ghost town right now in the month of November. Goose egg, goose egg, goose egg. So maybe Zach Hyman can inject a little life into them. Frederick better be forechecking tonight, man. There's no excuse. None. Zero. Zilch. Get in the game. Get mentally involved in the game. Darnell Nurse, hello. This is a big, strong Washington team. Get physical. Look someone in the eye. Drop the mitts. Do something. Get engaged. They need more guys engaged. And lastly, Knobloch just talked about with the lineup changes, what he's hoping, maybe the moves can get from his team.
A little more push, just shift in, shift out. Just not taking the foot off the gas. And yes, there's going to be times where Washington has their chances, but ultimately we need to, each line giving us a little more, setting up the next line. And, I think that ultimately starts with puck execution, making plays and not giving it away, but not also, there's been a lot of talk about giving away, but just the fact of just making a pass tape to tape so the next guy can make his next play.
Well, shift to shift. And I think that's a very key point because if there's one thing the Oilers have lacked, I think, is a continual threat offensively, like line after line. Like, how many periods can you say, like, even go back to that Philly game where they gave up, 6 shots in the first 35 minutes? They only had 1 goal. And it's not like they were peppering. Like, I see on the broadcast, they're always, look at the Oilers' offensive zone possession time. What does that even mean? Who cares if you're possessing the puck if it's not resulting in shots on goal and scoring chances? What are you doing? You're living on the perimeter. Oh, great. And teams will be like, hey, guys, we don't have to work very hard. Here, the Oilers, guess what? We sit back. The Oilers they're going to be all comfortable. They're going to cycle around. They'll skate. It'll look great. But at the end of the day, what happens? A whole lot of nothing. So think about it. The Oilers are number 1 in offensive zone possession time. But they're 15th in shots on goal. And you look at where they're at in goals for, right? And it's based because their power play. Take out the power play. Look at their 5-on-5, where the Oilers are 5-on-5. So what does the possession number really mean? Honestly, to me, it's a hollow number if it doesn't lead to scoring chances and goals. And the Oilers 5-on-5 are 19th in goals. 19th. So, and I think they're like 21st in shots. So yeah, they might have the puck on their stick 5-on-5 in the offensive zone, but it's on the perimeter. And it's definitely not leading to scoring chances, Connor Halley.
No. And I think, as a defender in the NHL, you're probably comfortable with them working around the outside. Like, okay, you might get a fluky goal past us once in a while, but you're not going to do too long-term damage with that type of strategy. Gregor, I want to ask you something. This might be weird thinking, but I want to see Tom Wilson running around out there. I want to see him throw some hits and see how the Oilers respond. Like we've talked about, we need to see a little bit of intensity. you could probably just not play a physical game, and the Edmonton Oilers are going to do nothing at all. But I don't think that's in Tom Wilson's nature. Like, I think he might get out there, Protas as well, big dudes. I hope they run some of the Oilers, and that wakes them up. And maybe it's the opposition dragging them into the battle.
Well, maybe. Yeah, like Tom Wilson runs it. Like, honestly, I wanted to be, hey, guys, whatever you do, let's just play a perimeter game. Because honestly, if you don't hit the orders, they don't initiate very often.
They'll sleepwalk.
And here's the worst part about it. Because nothing irks me more than the crowd who says, if you're hitting, it means you don't have the puck. What a ridiculous statement. Because, oh, by the way, you know who led the NHL in hits the last few years? The Florida Panthers. Did they not have the puck? Like, it's such a dumb, and people actually believe that's true. But here's, you know what? The Oilers have had more than 22 hits 4 times this season. They're 3-0-1 in those games. Because you probably play with a little bit more. Like, look at Zach Hyman came in against Carolina. He himself had 11 hits that game. Now, he only had 1 assist, but did you notice Zach Hyman? Virtually every shift. Right? It raises the emotional bar of your team. And because the Oilers, they need it. They don't have a lot of rats. They don't have a lot of guys who are overly emotional. They're a fairly quiet team. So you got to look. And if I'm Chris Knobloch, I'm just sitting like, enough's enough. At some point, your coach has to challenge you and set a standard of how they're going to play. And the standard for his 3rd and 4th lines can't be the same standard as his top 6. Okay? It just can't. Can't expect them to play the possession game that your top lines do and think you're going to have success. Right? I don't get it. Hey, Greg's 2 solid games in a row for Ingram. When do you realistically think they replace Pickard, Craig, and Red Deer? It's a good question, Craig. I actually asked someone in the organization that. Realistically, they probably said he needs 4 or 5 consistent games. And so probably not until early December. Because the Oilers, after this road trip, they play Dallas and then Seattle. And so, Pickard's going to play tomorrow, I would assume, against Tampa Bay. They don't have to do it, but probably will. And then he doesn't play another game the rest of the month because the Oilers play Sunday in Florida. That'll be Skinner. Then they have 2 days off. Skinner plays Dallas. Then they have 3 days off. Skinner can play Seattle. So then you get into December. So, yeah, I could see it. If Ingram keeps going, it's something that they would consider. But there's a lot more than, just him having a few good games in the American League. Because he's talked openly about it. Right? Like, where's his mindset at? Is he ready? Because playing in Bakersfield, when you're somebody who doesn't like attention, and you're going to come to a Canadian market, that's going to be hard. Right? Not impossible, but just hard. And, I don't know Connor well enough to make any sort of comment on, when he'd be ready for that. Obviously, I think he knows it's coming, but that's obviously where it's at. It's a good question, Craig, but I would say probably early December at best if he keeps playing well. But you're right, had another decent game, solid game last night for the Condors. That's the Titan Supply pregame show. Quickly, we'll get to the matchups brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. For all your automotive needs, go to your trusted experts in high-quality parts, tools, equipment, and more. That's Napa know-how. And the matchup for me now, because of the late scratch to Dowd. So the late scratch to Dowd forced Washington to change 3 of their 4 lines. Beauvillier moves from the 3rd line to the 1st line because they need McMichael to play center now on the 3rd line. And then they brought in Milano, and he'll play on the 4th line with Laperriere and Frank now. And they moved Duhaime up onto the 3rd line with Leonard and McMichael. So Duhaime, Leonard, and McMichael were all on different lines. Now they're together. Beauvillier moves up to the 3rd line. Milano comes in. He wasn't scheduled to play. And Lapierre and Frank are now on the same line. So to me, the matchup is, can Edmonton take advantage of, Washington not having practice for a few games in this format? Can you take advantage of it? That's what you got to see. McDavid and Draisaitl, can they run 2 lines? And can Chris Knobloch avoid the easy temptation of loading up McDavid and Draisaitl right off the hop? Can he avoid it? That should have been our over-under, Cons. God. Over-under on when they go full-time to McDavid and Draisaitl. Oof, that'd be a good one. Everybody would probably pick the under, though. That's the only challenge. I'd go 3 minutes. Under. No. We'll see. Once again, the over-under is 15 minutes and 50 seconds. Vasily Podkolzin's ice time tonight. Over-under for $100 from the River Cree. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Mark Spector will join us next here on Sports 1440. We get to the Conman Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. You've been putting off your tire changeover? Don't. Fountain Tire has 15% off select tires right now. Roll in, save big, and drive out ready for whatever the season throws at you. FountainTire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day out in Washington. Oilers Caps. Once this one wraps up, post game with Brandon Douglas and Donovan Paulson here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, Sabres host the Flames, Hurricanes in Minnesota, and the Ducks taking on the Bruins. In the WHL, the Oil Kings in Kelowna. That one gets going just after 8 o'clock. And in the association, you got 9 games tonight, including the Raptors taking on the 76ers. In the AJ1 game, Devon and Camrose at 7. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Oilers pregame is brought to you by Titan Supply. Built on trust, driven by safety. The Titan way. Visit titansupply.ca.
At Nisku Ford, we want your visit to feel as comfortable as a holiday gathering. When you shop with us, you're not just a customer, you're family. And we always give our family the best.
And the whole family is going to love our November deals. Find your favorite Ford, then choose from 0% financing or rebates as high as $10,000.
Nisku Ford to your holiday visits or make your wish list at niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Winter in Alberta doesn't mess around.
And neither does Titan Supply.
For over 50 years, we've earned the trust of our customers across a variety of industries.
Because we lead with integrity,
honesty,
and respect.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Brent from Titan Supply. When the weather hits hard,
we're fully stocked with rigging, lifting, and hauling gear that works as hard as you do.
Titan Supply.
Built on trust, driven by safety.
Serving Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary.
Let us help you face the weather the Titan way.
Visit titansupply.ca.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site heavy equipment service? Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, how are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. As always, the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. You might want to be rethinking Oilers against the Washington Capitals. Dowd a late scratch, so they had to rejig all their lines in Washington. The Oilers are only going 11-7 because that's all they got with Phil and Curtis Lazar showing up on the injured list. They won't play tonight, tomorrow, or Saturday in Florida. So it's 11-7, a little bit of extra ice time for probably some of the guys in the middle of the order forward group. We'll see how much ice time Regula and Emberson get on the back end. The morning skate had Nurse with Bouchard, although I'm not sure it's going to actually go that way. Ekholm and Kulak, Wallman and Nurse. We'll see. Some guys mixing and matching around. So we'll see. But the forward lines to start the game for the Oilers, you're going to have McDavid with Roslovic and Savoy, Draisaitl, Podkolzin, and Mangiapane, Hyman, Frederick, and Adam Henrique will be the top three lines. Tomasic and Janmark, the 10th and 11th. Forwards, Stuart Skinner versus Logan Thompson, as it's time for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialist. If you're looking to work for a fantastic company, over 50 years experience, they keep growing, keep expanding, just had their best year ever. It's awesome. And they're looking for new great people who don't want just a job, but a career with lots of opportunity and growth. They love promoting from within. Check it out. Look up careers at gsconstruction.ca. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Doing okay, man. Let's see a hockey game tonight here. It sounds like there's some roster changes right to the last second.
Yeah, for the Caps, Nick Dowd not showing up, so he is out with an upper body injury.
Wow.
The Oilers mixed up their lines due to injury. Their defense pairs. We'll see. I got to see it to believe it. They've seen guys in the morning skate, and then it's like one shift, and they go back to their D pairs. So we'll see what they do there. But the whole team's got to have a bounce back game, Spec. Like, it was a not good performance against Buffalo.
No, you can't. The key for the Oilers here is we've seen them play one decent game in a row several times. Great. Like, let's sustain something here. The Buffalo game, that was probably the most disappointing thing is they battled one out in Carolina, and they played well in a tough building against a really good team. And you thought, okay, like maybe there's something to build on here. And then they go into Buffalo and they throw it all in the garbage. Now you start again. Okay, let's try to win one in a row and play one good game in a row. So yes, Jay, you got an arena tonight with a depleted Washington Capitals team that hasn't been winning many games. This is a good place to start something here.
Should be. We could have said the same thing about a Buffalo lineup. Didn't really work. Now Washington's not playing the way they want. I don't think. They're kind of in the same boat. Like the Capitals, you know what? They had a great regular season last year, and they're right in this. They actually got fewer points than the Edmonton Oilers right now. So they, both of these teams should be hungry. What do you make of the Hyman with Frederick move? Is this the coach just saying, okay, you know what, Zach, we hope some of your energy can rub off on number 10?
Yeah, this is a coach. That's exactly how I see it. This is a coach trying to get, a coaching staff trying to get the most out of a player that they haven't got anything out of yet. So this is all about Frederick, I think, too. It's all about Frederick, man. They're playing him on a line that should be, it's a pretty good third line. Frederick, Hyman, and Henrique. I don't mind that line one bit. So, you know what? I don't know what it's going to take for us to come out of a game saying, man, Frederick sure was a factor in that game. But I hope we're saying it for his sake. I hope we're saying it soon, because we're 22 games in now. We haven't said it yet.
I know. It's very true. Do you think it works?
I mean, it's completely up to him. Should he need to have a guy on his line that he has to watch hit people so that he knows it's his turn to hit? Come on, really?
I agree with you.
What level of hockey are we playing here? But listen, man, the coach has tried a lot of stuff with Frederick, and it hasn't worked. So I applaud them for thinking of something new. How about that?
Maybe it spreads out some scoring too, right? Like in theory, Hyman should be able to give you a little bit more of a scoring punch there, no question. But we'll see kind of where it goes from there. But looking at the defense spec, do you think we'll actually see those pairings that we saw with Nurse and Bouchard, Ekholm, and Kulak, and Wallman and Regula for any extended period tonight?
I don't know. I mean, they have mixed things up quite a bit. It's hard for the coaching staff. I get it. This is a veteran defense. We all knew going into the season, Ekholm and Bouchard are a unit, and they've been together through 2 Stanley Cups. And Nurse is your number 3, and that's what he is on this team. So you can switch the shell game around all you want. we know Nurse is your number 3, and he's going to play with your next best guy, whether it's Wallman or whoever you got. So it hasn't worked. Is my point. They started the season with a pretty plug-and-play defense, and we're 21 games in, and it's been not good. So to me, I mean, these coaches, once again, Jay, they're playing the piano as fast as they can here. They're trying to find a way to get these guys going and playing at their level. But, it's look at all the guys on that defense we're looking at. Like, it's only been the last few games. Bouchard's been some resemblance of himself. Ekholm's been okay. Nurse isn't. Wallman isn't. Kulak isn't. Like, you tell me. These are veteran guys that aren't performing. The coach is just trying to get him to perform. That's all he's trying to do here.
Yeah, well, I've got to try something because it definitely ain't working. Hey, what'd you think of the Rantanen hit last night?
Yeah, bad. Lousy hit. I don't buy the guy pushed me, then I pushed him. I don't buy that. He drilled him from behind in a dangerous place, and you could have paralyzed the guy. That's what I think of that hit. Don't like it a bit. If I'm George Peros, there's suspensions, but George Peros doesn't like suspending anyone. That's why they put him in charge, I guess.
Yeah, well, I listened to Rant, and he's like, hey, you know what? I'm not that player. Yeah, guess what? I'm not that player, but that's the play you made, right? Like, that's the play you made. So in that instance, that's who you are, right?
Yeah, it's the whole hitting from behind thing it's very confusing to me. First of all, there's a million instances where the guy that is the victim turns at the last second, or he's just flat out playing the game with his back to the rink. And those guys, I don't have a lot of sympathy for when they get drilled in the numbers, when they're standing there for 10 seconds with their numbers to the rink. What do you think's going to happen? This was not that. This was two guys going into a corner. It's a time to be a little more careful. It's not a time to shove a guy. Again, I think the only way to stop it is to handle proper suspensions, but they don't do that, Jay. So if they don't care, I'm asking you, Jay, why do we care, right? If the players don't care because they never make a stink about it, and the league doesn't care because they've built the system they've built, why do you and me care? Why do our listeners care? Who cares, I guess, right?
I don't know, man. Hits from behind are such a joke. I don't know, it bothers me.
League doesn't seem to think so.
Yeah, well, clearly they don't, and it's embarrassing to me. It's
they don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care. Why do we care? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, well, I think if we, that's a pretty slippery slope to go down. If we don't care, then then why should I care? But that's not. I don't think that's a great. I just look at it and say it's a dirty play. And it's one that now I didn't have. Is he getting a hearing or is he not getting a hearing?
No, I just saw Elliott report today. There will be nothing.
No hearing, eh?
Yep.
Well, and Romanov's on IR already for the Islanders. So shocking.
Is he?
Yeah, he's put on IR today. So that's
yeah, and I guess I'd say to you that if the players really cared, it would become a thing in the PA, and the PA would come to the table with the league and say, this player safety department that doesn't ever suspend anyone for anything, we want higher standards. We want greater discipline. We want Rantanen to sit for 3 or 4 games. I don't care if he hasn't done it before. But the Players Association isn't saying that, Jason. And they're the ones going head first into the board. So they're more the PA's always been more interested in protecting the perpetrator than the victim. It's what they've always done. And I guess I'm saying, if the players aren't worried about it, why the hell are we worried about it?
No. Looking at going back to the orders, and Ingram played another good game last night. We had the question from a texter, and how long do you think it would be? And I spoke to someone from the organization. I basically, I got the response that end of the month at the earliest. Like, they need to see at least 5 games. And then there's the whole, because I know I read in your interview, Spec, and you talked to him, and I liked his honesty. He just said, you know what, man, I don't really like the spotlight. I don't like people looking at me. I don't like that. I'm like, well, you're in the NHL. That's, it's kind of a hard thing not to deal with. So did you get a sense from Ingram that he could handle playing in a Canadian market in the NHL?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. You know what? I'm not going to say that I think he can handle it. I hope for his sake he can.
Okay.
The only thing that he said that I didn't love, there's only one thing that he said I didn't love. And he said, not that many people want to talk to the goalie anyhow. Like in all the places I've played, my name's never on the board after the game.
Yeah.
I thought, uh-oh. Because you come to Edmonton as a goalie and everybody wants to talk to you. And when you don't have a good game, you bet your names. When I say the board, that is the guys that have to stay out and talk to the media.
Yeah.
Yes, your name's going to be on that board in Edmonton, whether you play well or play poorly, either way. So that part I didn't love. But I think that I guess I'd say this, if he comes here and it goes well, he's going to be fine. If he comes here and it doesn't go so well, all bets are off. How about that?
Right. Well, I guess maybe the good news if he comes here and is replacing Skinner sorry, not Skinner. Pickard. The way that Pickard's playing right now, it's not great. I know Stan Bowman, said earlier this week that, hey, I think if our team defense plays better, our goalies will play better. And there is some truth to that because the Oilers' team defense is not being good, right? Kevin Woodley outlined it on my show, and I want to read it. The exact quote about it was from the end of November, when Knobloch got hired there in 23 to the end of that season, the Oilers were top 10 defensive team and giving up high danger chances and second best in the NHL off the rush. Last season, even though there's a significant drop in the rush chances, they were still top 10 overall defensively. This year, they're 25th overall. They're 17th off the rush, 30th on in-zone scoring chances, and 24th on the penalty kill when it comes up to high danger chances. So their team defense simply hasn't been that good.
I think before you bring Ingram up, you better sort that out, right?
Yeah.
You better sort out the goal that Washington just scored, where there's a guy standing in front of the net, not being checked by Ekholm, tipping a puck right in front of Skinner, that goes whatever, right? What happened here? No, it was a rebound. I'm sorry.
Protas got the rebound.
I think he tipped it, rebound to the guy that's wide open. So my point is this. If I'm Stan Bowman, I'm not bringing Ingram in to play behind this team. That is a recipe for absolute failure. Let's get your defensive posture figured out in Edmonton. Let's find a defensive game. Let's tighten things up in their own zone, create a proper defensive environment. And then if Ingram's playing well on the farm, sure, bring him up, replace Pickard, bring him up, give him a shot. But don't give him a shot with what we've been watching the last 10 games here. That would be unfair to Connor Ingram.
Yeah. What do you make of, how much do you think, because Knobloch came in, but when he came in, so did Paul Coffey. How much do you make of Paul Coffey's absence? Is how much of a factor can that be in how the defense is playing in your eyes?
I don't know. Like, I honestly, Paul Coffey's not an X and O's guy. He's not the guy pouring over the video. We know that. Paul Coffey's a guy that's played the game so long and so successfully and has so much swagger and was so good. But the one thing he's good at, Jason, and it's not always like this with great players, he's been pretty good at getting his point across to today's player and to like fifth and sixth defensemen. We all know the story of the great players that tried to coach and couldn't get their point across because the game came to them so easily. Paul's different. He was effective. When Darnell Nurse started going bad, he sat down, Paul Coffey coached him out of it. He coached Kulak into a better player. He coached Bouchard into a better player. Like, you can't say he didn't. So, now that he's gone and they're all not playing so great, is that just a coincidence or is it cause and effect? I don't have an answer for you there. I don't have an answer for you, Jay. But it's one of the two. I mean, maybe it is cause and effect. Maybe his absence has to do with their poor defensive play this year. I couldn't have a hard time disagreeing with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, like it's either like it's got to be some part of it. I just don't know how much of it, but clearly some of his messaging. I know you're like he didn't do a lot of. Well, he did no video work. That wasn't his approach to the game, and everybody has a different approach. And I know at times he could be very direct in his approach, and him and some of the other guys in the coaching staff kind of butted heads at times. My understanding, so maybe that's a factor. We'll see, but. If being hard on guys is something that hasn't worked, then you got to get into it. Because I look at a guy like Darnell Nurse spec, and he has been a ghost when it comes to playing with any sort of emotion this season.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that Paul Coffey has he doesn't mind calling a guy out, say, be who you are. And I don't know if Mark Stewart does too. I can't tell you, right? The conversations between assistant coaches and players were just, you don't always know what they are and how they go. Maybe Mark Stewart's saying the same thing and it's not working. But, one thing about Paul Coffey, he's done it and he's been there. And when he tells you something, you can't look at him and say, oh, yeah, easy for you to say, because he's done it before. So let's see where it goes. I got one thing to say. I think we got to agree on this. If the coaching staff wanted Paul Coffey to be around and at practice and around the team and talking to guys, he would be doing all those things. It is fair to assume that the reason he's not here isn't because Paul Coffey doesn't want to be here. He's in the employ of the Edmonton Oilers, right? If he was assigned to come in and do what he did last year, we'd see him around all the time. So he's not there for a reason. And whatever that reason is, maybe someone's got to change their mind. Let's see.
Fair point. Spec, good stuff. We will chat with you at demand.
All right, sounds good.
That is Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We'll come back and maybe give you something. Do you need to feel something positive, Oiler fans? I think we have a few storylines that might give you cause for excitement. Coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Hot coffee, hotter takes, and the sports stories that matter. Check out Kevin Carriers weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440. Be part of the conversation. 833-401-1440.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts. And play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocksyeg.com.
For one day only, Friday, November 21st, The Brick is releasing Black Friday deals early.
Get a sneak peek at the hottest offers on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Save 65% off sofas when you buy the matching Love Cedar chair, up to 50% off mattresses, and up to $1,000 off when you buy 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, they pay the GST. Check out more one-day only deals and additional offers in-store. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Hey, you know winter is really freaking cold, right? So play it smart. Don't get caught freezing in your car with your pants down and no power. At Big Toy Shop right now, lead-acid batteries are just $129. $129 is a great price for a good start. Big Toy Shop. Power up and save some bucks at Big Toy Shop, 8315 Argyle Road, 780-298-2797.
Hey everybody, it's Chief Prince of AM, Jason Stredler. Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from Los Angeles and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters and have some drinks with umbrellas in them, you could attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Jason Strudwick, Kelly Buchberger, Ron Lowe, Jack Michaels, Louis DeBrusque, and more. Don't miss out on every hockey fan's dream cruise, the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. It's going to be one hell of a trip. Price start at just $23.99. Part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
The Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise, July 2026. Visit cast.tours/Edmonton or call 1-833-347-7678. Book now and save $500 per cabin when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours/Edmonton.
It's week 2 of Canadian Tire's early Black Friday sale. These prices won't go lower this year.
So you're lying on the floor?
Save up to 50% November 13th to 20th. Conditions apply. Details online.
Fellas, I'm ready to get up and do my thing. I want to get into it, man, you know. Like
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.524. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Sports 1440. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. We very much appreciate it. And the Oilers, Oiler fans are a little frustrated right now, understandably so. It's been very much a mediocre, below average start to the season for the Edmonton Oilers with only 9 wins in their first 21 games. They do have 22 points due to 4 overtime / shootout losses. So 22 points in their first 21 games has them outside the playoffs, not very far, but still. And who knows, the way this season's gone, maybe every team's going to be in there except maybe 3 or 4, at least in the hunt. But the Oilers do need to get going here sooner than later. And we decided to stop in and catch up on the youngsters in Bakersfield with the general manager of the Bakersfield Condors. We go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. Take action on your savings. You've been thinking about it? Well, give them a call or check it out, actionelectrical.net. Solar for your home or your business. Actionelectrical.net. And here is the assistant GM of the Oilers and the GM of the Bakersfield Condors, Keith Gretzky. Keith, you know what? I always like getting your updates on guys and seeing how things are going. I guess, the big one, lots of people in Edmonton are kind of curious about Connor Ingram. And, he's played, I think, 5 games now. Is good. First one, to me, looked like a guy on adrenaline. And then, the layoff probably was a factor. I know you guys gave him a weekend off once just to kind of find his game again. How would you evaluate how Ingram and where his game is at right now?
Yeah, you know what? He came in, the first game was great, and you're right, he was probably just on the rush of playing again. He was really good, and then, wasn't as good and was fighting the puck a little bit, and we talked to him, and we took I want to say 10 days of just solid practices, and it's hard when you only play on the weekends, and so we didn't have any games in the middle of the week, and you know what? He had a great 10 days and went into San Diego last week, and I thought he played very good. I thought he was solid. His rebound control was good. He was seeing the puck, which was huge, and I thought he played very well, and he'll play again tonight.
Okay. The other guy, you got Ike Howard back from Edmonton, young guy, very skilled player, and he was on a line with Szymanski and Hudson, and that line combined for 3 goals in his first game. Before I get to Howard, because we saw him up here, how is Josh Szymanski fitting into the American League?
Well, you know what? I think he knows his role. He's a hardworking guy. I would say that, how Europeans come over and face us aren't really as important over there as it is over here. And when you're killing penalties or playing on the power play, those are important things. You want puck possession. And I have to give the kid a lot of credit. He's night and day different from the beginning of the year. And you know what? He's a really, really good penalty killer, and he works hard. He's been moved up to really the top line and deserves it and has played well.
Now, when I look at Josh Szymanski and his style of play, realistically, if he's a guy who's going to develop to an NHLer, he's probably like a bottom 6 center iceman. That's realistic.
Yeah, I see that. He knows it too. He's a really smart kid. He understands that if he's going to make it, it's going to be starting as a 4th line guy and try to work his way up. But his biggest thing is his face-offs, killing penalties, and his work ethic. And I think he's really done a really good job of doing that.
Is he physical? Does he use his size?
Yeah, he gets in there. That's surprisingly, the other day we kind of have a little blow up with Coachella Valley, and especially at the end of the game, and they had their some toughness and they kind of went after I think it was Bo Akey, and he jumped. He was the first guy to jump in, and I wouldn't say I was surprised, but I asked him afterwards. He goes, "Well, he went after a young kid, so he kind of will get his nose in there. He's not afraid."
Okay, that's good. Bo Akey, obviously a higher draft pick, second round of the Oilers a few years ago. He's had some injury troubles the last few seasons. Hasn't played a ton of hockey. I know you even sent him down to the ECHL just to get him some playing time. And then he had some injuries, and he's come back up. How's he looked?
He played, pretty good for his first game in the American Hockey League. I thought he moved the puck well. I think the biggest thing is it's not where you start, it's where you finish, and hopefully he finishes one day in the NHL. That's our goal with every player. But I think the right decision is to make sure he plays over 20 minutes a game and play in key situations. And that was really the reason why he went down to Fort Wayne. He was really good about it. He understood. We just thought it would be important for him to go down and play a lot. And, from their coaches in Fort Wayne, he was playing real well. And with our injuries, it's, he caught a break and he's up and he's going to play again tonight.
Keith Gretzky, GM of the Condors, joins us. Robbie Arventi, another guy who battled injuries. You guys held him out of back-to-backs to start the season. I noticed he played one the other day. He's got 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points in 10 games. Big guy who can really skate and not afraid to shoot the puck. How is he looking now that he's finally healthy?
You know what? He's been very, very good for us. I think, like you said, we want to be on the caution side of back-to-backs, and I'm glad we did. And he hasn't had any issues, and you always want him to play. And the one surprising part about his game is when he wants to be, he can hit pretty good, and he hits hard. And I like to see him, bring that into his game a little bit more consistently. He's around the net. He's got a really good shot. And the other night he scored 2, and the first goal was just out muscling the D behind the net and does a wraparound. He won the puck battle, and that's where he's going to have to succeed to play at the next level.
Okay. You have the one guy down there that has a lot of excitement. He's become a fan favorite already. Is young Connor Clattenburg, right? Like the fans love him, and I get why. I watched his last game against This guy hit everything that moved. He ends up getting in 2 fights, and he gets in 2 fights because of being physical, and the other team is pissed off and they're going after him, right? Like he's not just taking in a fight for the sake of it, at least in that game anyway. His skating's good, Keith. Like this guy's a ball of energy. Has he surprised you with just kind of how his relentless motor has been in every game that I've watched?
Yeah, you know what? He's a guy that is, when he hits hard. He's like a Mack truck out there, and he doesn't go out of his way. He doesn't take himself out of the play. It's finishing the check on the forecheck. He doesn't go head hunting. The thing is, he's a hockey player. He's being used to kill penalties. So I think it might take a little bit, but his game is growing. I think he's more than a pleasant surprise. And like you said, we're not asking him to fight every game. And, what happens is when you hit a couple of guys hard, they're going to come after you. And they did it the other night. And I have to give the kid credit. He turned our team around and gave us a lot of energy. We got home like at 2:30 in the morning from a hard loss and the night before. And he came out and you know what, he brought a lot of energy and brought the team together. And we got the win probably because of him.
Well, I was trying to remember the last time a guy was the first star of a game when he had no points, and he's not a goalie. All right. So, you had a few guys with 3 points each, and they weren't even the first star. So obviously people appreciated, what he brought to the game. Ike Howard comes down, and, obviously I'm sure there's a little disappointment, but he did pick up 2 assists, and, it seemed to fit in there. You had a guy like Matt Savoy last year, Keith, and you put him in a ton of situations, and obviously it's worked out, and he looks like he's NHL ready. Now, I don't know if Howard's going to be necessarily used on the penalty kill like Matt Savoy was or not. They're a little bit different in certain elements, but what's the plan with Howard now that you have him?
I think that, you're right. He's not going to kill like Matt really hadn't killed before. And I think our coaches did a really good job. And, everybody always in the American League goes by wins and losses for coaches. And to me, I've always said it's about developing, and we've done a pretty good job down here. Matt was excellent. He bought in. It took a while, to find his game, and same with Ike. He's gonna come in and I thought the biggest thing was his attitude was great. And what it's like. Guys get sent down that, I wish I was in the NHL or I should be in the NHL. And he's not like that at all. He's been a real good soldier, I say, and he's come out and worked hard. I thought his work ethic was great. And of course, the skill level is just, getting your confidence, handling the puck. And we're going to use them on killing penalties. Will it be as much as Savoy? I'm not too sure, but he's going to get, some touches on the PK and get him used to doing that. And I think it's really important. It's another, bullet in the gun to be used in the NHL. So that's why Clattenburg's the same way. We want to give these kids opportunities to succeed and to be used as, in Edmonton. And I think Howard his passing was unbelievable the other night. He could have had a couple goals. So I think the biggest thing is when you come down, you have to come down with a good attitude and understand, hey, it's for the best of you. It's easy to say and hard to do. And right now, Howard's been really good with his attitude.
Well, he'll definitely add more skill to your lineup, no question about it, as Keith Gretzky, the GM of the Condors, joins us. They're in action tonight, taking on Calgary's AHL affiliate, the Wranglers. Another guy who's young, and he was went in the draft, didn't sign in Buffalo. You guys signed him. Marhala has 13 points in 14 games for a rookie, which is really impressive. I think a lot of people don't realize how hard it is to be a point-a-game player almost in the American League, Keith. Like the 2 games I've watched, what stood out to me is his ability to transport the puck, especially through the neutral zone. Is that kind of his forte? And when you look at his game, what are the areas that he's going to need to round out to be a guy who maybe could be a call-up down the road?
You're right. He's a kid that is a transporter. I haven't seen too many guys, like he'll make moves that you go, wow, and like not too often you see that in the American League, and especially in the neutral zone or just inside the offensive zone. He really dangles well. He was another guy like Szymanski, wasn't good on his faceoffs at the beginning. He's working on it every day. He's gotten, a lot better, night and day difference. for me right now, it's just core strength and a little bit more quickness. And, it's hard, like you said, to get points in the American League. And what he's done so far is hats off to him. And, you get put in situations to succeed, and he runs he's on the first power play unit, and he go out and kill penalty the other night when it was a 5-on-3. He's taken important faceoffs. That's learning down in the American League, and he's done a really good job.
The veteran Atro Lepinen, how is he adjusting to the American League?
I think he's getting better. I think it's when you're a defenseman, it's harder. I think it's coming over here. It's more forechecking, more physical. I thought his compete levels raised up, his intensity's raised up. I always say for the Europeans, it's usually 20 games, even kids out of college and junior. It takes you a while to get going. But I think Leps has gotten better. He's moving the puck, and he the one thing he does is likes to engage in the offense, and that's important for us. That's what we're looking for.
Keith Gretzky joins us. Keith, you have this is an influx of some new guys to your team, and I know he's still a younger guy. He's 27, and maybe he's 28 even. James Hamlin's a guy who's had some cups of coffee in the NHL, and obviously that's still the goal, is to get there. But you know what? As like kind of quasi third line, maybe. I'm not sure how you'd classify it if you really have a third line necessarily, but he has 5 goals, 7 points in 9 games. And is he kind of quietly become like your veteran leader up front?
Yeah, you look at it, and I know it's hard to, plus minuses, and he leads our team in plus minus with, I think it's +7. And this guy is what you want in a player. And you know what? He's great in the locker room, but his work ethic on the ice, I think rubs off on people. I believe in that. I think he's a guy that brings everybody into the fight with his work ethic as, probably the tops, the way he's out there, and he gives us all. And, I think it rubs off on people. You watch him block shots, and, the other night we're 6'2", and Szymanski's out there blocking a shot. And I'm like, gee, that's rubbing off, that's what it's about. And I think, Hammer is a guy that's underrated. I really feel that as a player that, like you said, he could be on the third line and be on the first line. And, he's out there killing penalties, and he, like I said, he's a guy you want on your team.
2 other young D-men, Carfagna and Luke Prokop. How have they looked?
They look really good. I think Luke and Josh Brown are both leading our team in plus minus on the back end, both +5. And I think, you look at Carfagna, he's now getting a chance with Deneen hurt. He's going to get on the second power play unit. So I think now is his time again, like Atro, you're going to see what he can do when you get the ice time, you put in situations. So it's going to be a good couple of weeks to see what he can do. And Luke's been a real pleasant surprise. I think, in our heads, he was probably heading to the East Coast League, and we told him that when we signed him. And you know what? He's played very well. He's learned to kill penalties and use his size.
Speaking of the ECHL, you have 2 young goalies down there, and I know that a big reason why they were sent there was because you want them to play. And so they're both playing. Janssen was obviously off to a red-hot start. Realistically, Keith, because I know you've been doing this for a long time, and when you look at that goalie position, like Stuart Skinner, I could name tons of goalies who start in the ECHL. That's just where it is because there's playing time, right? You don't want a young guy to be a backup in the AHL that doesn't play very much. What would it take? Is it realistically like, maybe in the new year, if one of them's still on a roll, that's when you'd look at maybe a call up to the AHL? Is that kind of how it works with goalies?
Yeah, you know what? Our biggest thing is, and we really haven't talked about it, it's so early. And the one good thing, it's like when Howard came down, you have to come with a good attitude. And when I talked to both of them, they were really, really good on understanding why they were going. Janssen, especially, coming from Europe, it's a big adjustment. And you think you're going to the American League. And we had talked to him in the summer and said, hey, this could happen or whatever. We didn't really know. And you know what? I think they're in a great spot. I believe, like you said, you got to play games and play meaningful games and win games and learn to be a pro and come to the rink every day. And it doesn't matter where you start. And you know what? They've both been really good down there. And you know what? they just got to keep growing, and then when we have a chance, we'll visit it and see what we do.
How's your golf game, Keith?
It's rained 6 days straight here.
There, all right. Yeah, it's now that's rare, isn't it, in Bakersfield to rain that much?
We've never seen this much rain. I think it was like 1953 was the closest time. So it's like, it's they probably needed it, and everybody says, "Oh, this is great," and I'm like, "Really?" They just love the rain. So it's today was the first little bit of sun, so it's good.
All right, there you go. That is Keith Gretzky, the general manager in Bakersfield, assistant GM in the Edmonton Oilers. We'll update you. First period is it's been a wild and wacky period. We'll tell you about it when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal, and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Stories are told to make a point, and GS Construction takes them very seriously. We're not talking about fairy tales. GS Construction looks at the story old pipes tell us, a tale of time and pressure and endurance. So when those old pipes are ready to end their story, GS Construction starts a new chapter by repairing or rebuilding, or in some cases, renewing the underground infrastructure that supports our modern lives, making sure every community's story continues on safely and reliably. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
For one day only, Friday, November 21st, The Brick is releasing Black Friday deals early. Get a sneak peek at the hottest offers on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Save 65% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair, up to 50% off mattresses, and up to $1,000 off when you buy 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, they pay the GST. Check out more one-day-only deals and additional offers in-store. Some inclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hand delivering a hamper to a family in need fills everyone's hearts with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper program. Adopt a local family and see the difference your groceries and gifts make firsthand. Sign up today at holidayhamper.ca.
Don't look now, but I think we're being followed.
Oh, that's just my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Well, they're driving pretty close.
Because they're attached.
Save up to 15% on select tires until December 13th.
Cool.
Plus, get up to $125 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires.
Anything else?
Get $50 off a $150 service when you buy those tires.
Well, that's handy.
Yep.
And weird.
Well, I love my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Book your appointment online today. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Creek is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Black Friday is on now at GMC. Get a $1,000 Black Friday bonus on all 2025 and 2026 GMC models at participating dealers. Whether it's the bold Sierra 1500 Elevation Crew Cab, the rugged Sierra 2500 HD AT4X, the versatile Canyon, or the adventure-ready Terrain Elevation all-wheel drive. Every drive delivers unstoppable performance and premium comfort. Get your $1,000 Black Friday bonus now. Conditions apply. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EUL. Get your power play amped up with EUL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EUL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
By 47, welcome back. Wild first period in Washington. The Capitals this season, their average game has a total of 5.25 goals scored. There was 5 goals in the first period. 3 for the Capitals, 2 for Darnell Nurse, and it's 3-2 Washington. It was defense optional in that period. There's a lot of scoring chances. Brett Kulak is on. He is in one right now. He is now being outscored 15-0 at 5-on-5. 15-0. And then he got out. I missed a shift or two. He gets out cons and he just overskates the puck in the slot and they get another good scoring chance. I'm like, oh my goodness, you got 7 defensemen dressed. Like at some point, might have to give him a reset for 6 or 8 minutes. Give him a reset. So
it's an easy one too, isn't it, Gregor? Like you talk about accountability. This just seems too easy. 7 defensemen. He's -3. Could be -4. Sit down for a minute, man. Take it all in. Take a few breaths. Sit out for a little bit.
Yeah, like, oh my goodness, it is unreal. Let's get to the 2-minute warning brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca. As Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town, Cam born with cerebral palsy, Cam's in a wheelchair, and due to his disability, unable to be on the radio until now. The wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Tuesday night in Los Angeles carried a quiet tremor, the kind that rises through the soles of your shoes and settles in the air before anything actually happens, the kind that has followed LeBron James for more than 2 decades. At 40 years old, standing at the threshold of year 23, he looks at the universe with that familiar, defiant calm that says, "I'm not done. Don't you dare pretend otherwise." That alone would be remarkable, but stack it against the truth of this season. Missed training camp, sciatica stealing 14 games, the predictable chorus of whispers growing louder, and his return to the Lakers starting lineup felt almost tender. There he was again, carrying the weight of expectation the way he always has, with that steady presence that belongs only to someone who has lived inside pressure for longer than some opponents have been alive. 11 points, 12 assists. And that second half. It wasn't just basketball. It was LeBron as conductor, raising the baton, guiding the floor with instinct earned through battles stacked across years, across eras, across every form of doubt he has ever outlasted. Then came the threes. 2 in the first half. Enough to pass Reggie Miller on the all-time list. 2,561. A number simple at a glance, but staggering when considered across a body that has broken and rebuilt itself repeatedly while still finding ways to redefine longevity. And the layup. That gliding, effortless layup in the third quarter that extended a streak so surreal it feels mythic. 1,293 consecutive games with double-digit scoring. everyone since January 6th, 2007. Under the Los Angeles lights in this city, he reminded us again that greatness is not just what you do, it's how long you can keep doing it when the world keeps insisting, one very popular theme, you can't.
2-minute warning, Gregor Halley, Kruger Me the Talon, and Weekday Sports 1440.
It's kind of came in a sprinting motion there at the end, Connor Halley. Is that on super speed? What's going on?
He's taking 2-minute warning to heart. He was he hit the post there. 2 minutes exactly.
Okay. All right.
I like that though. Random LeBron James appreciation for his longevity.
Yeah, that was, well, hey, you know what? He's played it a long time. There's no question about it. And now let's be honest. The guy spends $1 million a year on to make sure that his body's healthy. When you make as much money as you can, why would you? It's a smart investment. It's a very smart investment. I don't have much issue with it at all. So, you look at where where LeBron's going, like how many more is this his last year? Hey, do you think it's his last year?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends how the season goes. Like, I know Declan's got the bold prediction that he gets traded to Cleveland and goes back there. What if they went on a run, a magical run, and that's how it concludes? I really don't know. Like, I don't want to write him off because, like you said, like he invests that money to play for a long time. He's still at this age better than the majority of the players in the NBA. So he's going to have to decide to do it, I suppose, and walk away. And, we probably got that ownership thing built in when the NBA does eventually decide to go to Vegas. I hope not. I hope he plays a couple more years and just keeps it going because I still enjoy watching LeBron.
Yeah, I wonder how long he plays. Curious to see how he looks once he gets back. We shall see. Oilers Capitals was a wild first period. Can the Oilers come back? We'll see. Tonight, the post-game show, Brandon Douglas, the Duke, and Paulson will be taking you home to see. Can the Oilers get a comeback? Like another 2-goal deficit comeback? They were down 2-0. They were down 3-1. We shall see. Enjoy the game. On behalf of Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday evening. Let's get to the Command Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers in action tonight out in Washington after 20 minutes. They trail the Capitals 3-2. Darnell Nurse with both goals for the Oilers. Once this one wraps up, Donovan Paulson, Brandon Douglas, and Landon Ferraro have your post-game coverage here on Sports 1440. Midway through the first in Buffalo, Sabres trail the Flames 1-0. Later tonight, you got Wild and Hurricanes, and the Sabres taking on the Ducks in the WHL. Oil Kings on the road once again, taking on the Kelowna Rockets. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock as they'll have a battle of the Aginla brothers. In the association, Toronto Raptors up on the Sixers, 43-38. That one in the second quarter. Elsewhere, Hornets trail the Pacers 51-45, and the Rockets up on the Cavaliers 45-32 in the second. Later on tonight, Trailblazers host the Bulls, Knicks in Dallas, Thunder taking on the Kings, and the Nuggets meet the Pelicans. In the AJ1 game tonight, Devon takes on Camrose at 7, and the Elks making some news today, extending defensive back Cordell Jackson and defensive lineman Noah Curtis. Coming up next on Sports 1440, it is Fox Sports Radio. A reminder, once the Oilers and Caps wrap up, post-game coverage here with Brandon Douglas. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440,
a Stingray radio station,
broadcasting